Yeah, let's get metal tonight, brothers and sisters, boys and girls, gentle beings, kind souls from across the 28 known galaxies. So yeah, I had date night tonight with Elizabeth. We went to El Portal, our favorite little Mexican joint here in town. Then we took the dogs out for their nightly walk, or as I like to call it, their nightly constitutional. Then I came back right now, and I figured, you know what? People seem to like these streams. So, and I had to talk about something. I was like, it's on my mind. So tonight, as many of you know, they dropped news about the San Diego Comic-Con. Now, San Diego Comic-Con is one of my favorite things that I do every year. I've been going to the San Diego Comic-Con since 1988. 1988, the first summer I lived in Los Angeles. And so tonight, they announced that they're going to do they're this summer, obviously like last summer, because of COVID, no Comic-Con. And I love Comic-Con. I mean, they did a virtual event. You know, it was all right. It was fine, I guess. It's not the same thing as it is when you want to go live or something like that, but and see real people. It didn't exactly light the world on fire. It was decidedly unmetal. It was unmetal. And so it was a bummer. So tonight, they announced that they're going to do a live event this year, but they're going to do it on Thanksgiving weekend. Now, I don't know about any of you, but we couldn't have Thanksgiving with our families. Now people are getting vaccinated. Thanksgiving weekend is one of the most expensive weekends of the year to travel. And if you're going to go hang out in San Diego I over Thanksgiving, I mean, you go see your family, or it's a non-denominational American holiday that it's probably the most, even more so than Christmas. I always associated Thanksgiving with family. Christmas was kind of more intimate. It was like the people that were in your house. I mean, I'm a Jew, so we celebrated Hanukkah, but you know what I mean. I've dated people. Christmas, we have Christmas. Elizabeth, Christmas is a thing. I like Christmas. Christmas is an imagination connoisseur's holiday. Whatever you believe in, it's imagination. Kris Kringle, put one foot in front of the other, and soon you'll be walking out the door. You know, it's Rankin and Bass. It's stop motion animation. It is an imagination connoisseur's holiday. And I'm just like, you know, man, I'm not that down with Thanksgiving. I mean, why wouldn't they have done it over Halloween? Halloween's on a Sunday this year, Sunday the 31st of October. Why not do Comic-Con over Halloween weekend instead? It's not as expensive. You're not forcing people to choose between their families and Comic-Con. I really think that the Thanksgiving thing is decidedly not cool. I mean, I'm disappointed. I mean, I'll probably go, but probably do some panels or whatever, like I always do. We always do Starship Smackdown. We can't have Starship Smackdown without, we can't have Starship Smackdown without, you can't do it. It's just over Thanksgiving. Not cool. Not cool. You know what is cool? I have a guest. That's right, goddammit. I have another guest who is decidedly metal as fuck, and I'm going to have him here. I wonder if you can hear me. Can you hear me, guest? You can hear me. That is fantastic. All I have to do now is put my guest into the stream. He's never streamed on this channel before. He's had me many times on his channel, and this is the first time he's ever been with me. I'm just going to, on the fly, I'm going to put him in so you can see his beautiful face. And he is, in fact, decidedly fucking metal. And you know what? If you're not metal, you don't get on the show for Midnight Metal. You have to be truly metal as fuck to get on the show. And he is. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring him on all the way from fucking Midnight's Edge, whose logo is fucking metal. Fucking metal! Tom Connors is here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome him to the most metal as fuck stream ever. Never had anybody from Midnight's Edge on my channel. So, Tom, welcome to Midnight Metal here on the Burnettwork. It is a great honor to have you, sir. Do you feel metal tonight?
I think this is Midnight's Edge metal night.
It is
I feel
Midnight's
very
Edge.
metal.
It is so metal, and when you hear the do 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 do, Midnight's Edge. I mean, the Midnight's Edge logo might be the most metal logo of all YouTube channels.
Awesome.
So I gotta
Yeah,
ask
I
you,
like it.
can I've never asked you, how did you get involved with Midnight's Edge?
Well, initially, I was doing my own thing for years on YouTube. I was part of the Midnight's Edge.
By the way, are you drinking
No, I just got soda here.
soda? I just
yeah.
want to say that I am drinking Dr. Jameson. Dr. Jameson
for
is in the
you.
house. All right, soda. I don't mean to
I
pressure
may
you.
or may not be inebriated in other ways, but we'll get into that.
Oh, that's good. All right. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So you're doing your own
you're
thing.
fine.
You're doing your own
Yeah.
thing on YouTube.
And I went from like animation and music and other things I was working on, and I just finally got into this talk and entertainment news stuff because I did know some people in the industry and I knew a thing or two about things. But yeah, then one day I was in the Midnight's Edge group for a while, and somebody brought I'd talked to Andre in passing, but I guess I don't know if somebody brought to his attention some of my videos or what happened. But next thing you know, I'm getting a message from Andre. He's like, "What's your phone number? I want to call you." So he calls me from Norway,
Right.
like international call.
Had you ever talked to him before?
Not in person, just on, like in chat.
Because I love his voice. What was it like to hear
yeah.
Andre's voice for the first time live on your
It was
phone?
surreal. It was like talking to you for the first time. Because I'd heard your voice in other places too. So it's just like, that surrealness of, wow, I know that voice and they're talking to me. It's like, and you're responding and they respond to you. And
Andre's fucking metal.
Yeah, he is. Oh, if anybody's more metal than me over at Midnight's Edge, it's definitely Andre.
He's fucking metal. Andre's metal.
He is metal as shit. He's even dead inside. He'll tell you that.
Andre is not dead inside. Come on
That's
now.
what he says. He goes, everybody should be a little bit more dead inside.
Wow, that is kind of fucking metal, truly.
Yeah, but no, so we're just talking, and after about 20 minutes or so into the conversation, just chit-chatting about this, that, and the other, he's like, how would you like to be part of Midnight's Edge? And I'm like, would I? Where do I sign? What do you want, my kid? He's yours. No, yeah. So he's like, at first I was brought on as just a commentator and stuff like that, and to help with that kind of thing. And then one thing led to another. And since I did have a little bit of background in editing and stuff, I had to take over for that because the guy that we brought in to do that just wasn't working out. So next thing I know, here we are 3+ years later or whatever. And yeah, I'm pretty much like vice president or whatever you want to call it of Midnight's Edge now. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Well, that's great. Now, how long have you been with Midnight's Edge?
I want to say just after. It was after Ghostbusters, but before Spider-Man, so it would have been the beginning of 2017.
Wow, okay. All right.
Oh, no, would it have been 2016?
Before.
What year did Homecoming come out?
I think 17.
Okay, it might have been April of 2017. But I want to say that it was before The Last Jedi, though, for some reason.
Yeah.
Because I did our Last Jedi roundtable with them. So
let me ask you this.
It was in that area.
How do you feel? Obviously, I think over the last 5 years, I started on YouTube at Collider. Actually, it was AMC Heroes in April. April marks my 6th anniversary. I have to figure out the exact date. But obviously, the YouTube space has exploded in the last 5 years, the last half decade.
And especially in the last year, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people with COVID coming in, but, a lot of channels. And I think that what I find really interesting is that the one thing that YouTube has done that I think has been a game changer is the studios cannot control the voice of the punditry out here. Before, everyone talks about the access media. Like Gary from Nerdrotic always talks about the access media, and he's correct. And there is a whole ecosystem of entertainment journalism that exists in LA that is all about reporting on news. It's not about editorializing. It was just about reporting. You go to junkets, you see movies, you interview people, and Collider did a lot of that. Yeah. And that was and that was fine. And when you that treated the studios well. But the thing what you couldn't do is offer. You couldn't. I mean, unless you were a legitimate movie review channel like someone like Chris Stuckman, who I think is a very good reviewer, and he's got almost 2 million subscribers. You know, he's not in LA, but so he's a well established. Or Jeremy Johns, they do reviews, so people know that. But they're and I think their reach allows them to, whether they review something and they don't like it or they like it, they have such a reach that the studios want to keep them. But also they're not doing any kind of investigative journalism or anything like that. And I think the studios now have to contend with the fact that some of us are very loud and can be very anti the decisions that are being made, and suddenly it becomes part of the public conversation, which was something that 5 years ago never happened. Not like it happens now.
Yeah, and not only that, I would say in some cases we even have bigger audiences than them in some cases. I mean,
oh no, I mean, you know, you look at people like you're talking your reach is hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah, and then you look at something like a couple of our videos that have gotten like 1 million views and stuff like that, and there's barely that many people watching Star Trek Discovery, if that, you know. It's
right,
like,
absolutely, 100%.
It's insane, and Batwoman's a great, great one for a lot of people because, like, you know, there's more people watching Az's videos than are actually watching the show, and then we have the hard numbers for that. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think what I was talking about this today on my own show. I like all the people that I've met. Like I met you on YouTube. I met Gary on YouTube. I did a great stream on Star Trek: The Motion Picture with Critical Drinker. Az and I have done streams about The Prisoner, and now we were going to do a one-off about Hot Toys that's gone on for like 20 weeks.
Right.
And it still goes on. And I find it's fascinating to me that this whole ecosystem exists. So, like, I wonder, where do you think it's going to go? Where do you think it's going to go in the next 5 years? Does YouTube stay the same? Or do we expand? Do we do things differently? What do you think is going to happen?
That's a good question. It all depends on how they treat us as far as like creators at a certain level that aren't CBS, that aren't Fox, and all these other, you know, corporate entities, Disney, whatever. When they start to actually admit that we're important and give us some kind of power on this platform in some way, and I don't mean like, you know, the ability to do this or that as far as like canceling somebody or shutting down anything, like just to be able to have, you know, not feel like you got the YouTube monster breathing down your neck every time you put out a video, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Even if you're not even doing anything controversial. You know, it's like, am I going to get a copyright claim for this? Is it going to be something that I can't put up for a week and then nobody's going to watch it because, you know, I'm sitting there waiting for it to become monetized? And, you know, there's all kinds of other things we have to deal with when we're on a smaller level as far as YouTubers compared to the big guys who automatically get everything that goes right through. I mean, there's that level of, they've made it harder for an entrance level on YouTube than it was when I first started. Because when I first started, you could just be monetized.
Right.
You didn't have to have anything, you know, you were a partner. Like, you didn't have to go through all this crap.
No, when I first started on YouTube, you had to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of views before you got monetized. That took me, I mean, I hate to say this because other channels, it takes them a lot longer. It took me 2.5 weeks to get monetized. But that was because I was on Collider. And we had so when I moved over and started my own channel, all the people from Collider migrated over. But still, the 1,000 subscribers wasn't hard for me because I already had viewership for 3.5 years. But the 4,000 hours of views, that was tough. You know, I mean, easy. It was not easy, and it was. I mean, it happened pretty fast because I did long shows, but it was still rough. And what I find really interesting is that what people don't understand is that YouTube is hard work. You know, it really is. I mean, hours of the day, you have to plan things, and even talking to a camera is rough. It is not metal. It is not metal.
No. Rock stars get a lot more. They just have to show up for a couple hours and sing and do their thing and smash a guitar on stage, and that's metal. And then we we got to put a lot of hours in. Like, there's the joke that I don't sleep, but like that's a big part of it. Is when you're in YouTube, you don't sleep a lot.
No.
And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. It's the greatest job I've ever had. But I mean, it takes a lot to build up, and I don't pretend that, you know, it wouldn't have took me twice or three times as long to get where I'm at on Midnight's Edge if I was on my own. You know, I mean, I was getting there. My channel was doing okay. I had, you know, I think over 1,000 subscribers when Andre found me, or close to it. But since then, you know, obviously, I mean, I've always tried to pay it forward. I've always made sure that, you know, I don't care what size your channel is. If I like your content, I'll bring you on.
Right.
You know, and that's the thing, is that there's a lot of voices out there. When I first started, it wasn't very many. We were sparse. You know, we were looking here and there, left and right in corners of YouTube to find people. But like you said, after things kind of shut down, well, then it'd be a lot easier to find people. So to answer your original question, where I think the future is going to go, unfortunately, I think for some people, once the world starts getting back into the swing of things, there's going to be a lot of people who are just going to find it so much easier to go back to their daily lives.
Yeah.
There's going to be some people who are just going to get washed out because there's 500 other people doing what you're doing. And not everybody is going to rise to the top. Like, you know, now there's a lot of people home to watch just about everybody and interact.
Yep.
But you know how it is when before things, you know, shut down. Our shows, one day you get so much of a crowd, the next day you'd be lucky to get anybody. You know,
Yeah.
It's a give or take thing. And I think the same thing is going to happen on the other end, like I said. But also, I think we're going to see a renaissance, and you're a big part of the beginning of that. You know, working on, you know, even though Tango Shalom is its own thing, and you worked on it, I feel like with like what you did with your, you know, having people send in films, with what Mr. H has been doing, what other people are talking about doing, I think YouTube is going to be the next platform for this new independent wave that's due. We're due for it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, that would be the dream. My dream for this channel is, like, I would love to be able to finance, like, if I had my druthers, I would, if I got to say 250,000 subscribers, right, I would say, okay, guys, I'm going to have a membership program from a year for 12 months. And it's going to be, say, $25 a month to be a member. And what you're going to get, we are going to make a feature film.
Right.
And I'm going to be making a feature film, and I've got 3 scripts. And if you want to become a member, you're going to pick them, because what the $25 a month would get you, what the membership gets you, that's the budget of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I want to turn the audience into the studio. They're paying for it, and then you take them through the whole process. They pick which script you're going to make. They get to watch the casting process. There's going to be people broadcasting live on set when the movie's actually being screened. The audience will be able to look at cuts of the film as it's being developed. And I want to be able to make a movie, but the audience becomes, again, the studio.
Producers.
They're producing. They're literally producing it, and they're your creative partners. I don't know if that would work. A lot of my friends like,
I think it will.
You can't do something like that. And I'm like, why not? And
Which one of your friends are saying that, though?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's people that would be like, why would actors agree to be in a movie knowing? And I said, look, we're not going to broadcast 24/7 from the set, but every day for, say, a period of 3 hours,
yeah,
you would have like 6 live cameras. And they would, like the DP the director of photography would wear a camera at one point. And the actors couldn't because they're on camera. But I, as the director, would wear a camera. And you follow me around.
Director cam, yeah.
You know, you hear me, or you can have like the cameras, and then maybe each day it's different. So 5 days a week for 3 hours a day. And the cast and the crew would know. And then the audience, the studio, the audience that's paying for the movie through their subscription would get to watch. And no one's ever done anything like that. And you'd be involved in the production of a motion picture from soup to nuts, from conception through completion. That's something I really want to do. And it would be something new that hasn't been done before. Now, I'm saying this, watch, somebody will take this idea and run with it. I don't have it financed. I'm not anywhere near up and running to do something like that. But I would love to do that.
Even if they do, I don't think that's a problem. And I'll tell you, because comics, what they're doing with comics right now, I think that shows that this is possible. Look at what EBS has done. Look at all the other guys that have been doing comics.
Jason Inman and Ashley Robinson have they've Jupiter Jet, and I love the two of them, and I love the crowdfunding aspect and using YouTube as it all works together. And I think you're cutting out the middleman. You're selling right to your constituency, your fans, and they're paying for their comic. They're just paying for it in advance.
Yeah, and then you can put the movie right on YouTube. It's monetized there, or you can, through other means. And like you said, your audience gets a Blu-ray for their contribution, and their name is an executive producer in the credits, what have you, all that kind of stuff, and whatever perks you offer. No, I think that is clearly the future, as far as especially getting more independent content and movies made. And I think because there's talent out there. It's out there. I mean, Ethan said this, I've said this. All we got to do is all you got to do is say, hey, I want this. And before you know it, there's 3 guys in your inbox saying, I can make that for you.
Yep.
And that's what we have here. We have a community, and I don't mean just guys. I mean women and men. I just mean
everybody. I mean,
but yeah. I'm not trying to be like exclusive or anything like that. But no, we have a great audience full of men, women, and other.
Like I say, all kinds of gentle beings across the 28.
Exactly.
However you identify, everybody that's out there. And I think that, like, I'm amazed. Today, my inbox was flooded with art for Midnight Metal.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Zevius, who did my art for Let's Get Physical Media, he did that. So that's one. Yeah, he's amazing. He's amazing. We're working on a project here, which I got to get back into, but he's amazing. and I mean, again, I would never have met. How would I know him? He lives in Canada, and because of the YouTube channel. And I think that's something that I found to be really inspiring. How much creativity is out there, and people have been toiling away wherever. And now, like Dieter Bastian, who I do Let's Get Physical Media with, I wouldn't have met him. Like one day he said, "Oh, I can get this piece of physical media here in Europe if you want me to," and I'm like, "Okay, dude." And now we've done. Tomorrow's our 19th. Well, it's actually our 19th regular show. Same with Az. I met Az through you guys, and Az we did Prisoner, and I find it actually it's very uplifting. I mean, here we're having this conversation. It's not very metal. But I think it's a good.
It's metal though. It is metal.
It's fucking metal, man.
Sure.
Fuck yeah.
It's definitely punk rock. I mean, it's in the vicinity, so you can say that. Because no, I really think that's where this community's headed. I mean, we've already seen it in the great documentaries that people have put together.
Yeah, Echo-Based Networks documentaries.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even like the ones that we've helped out with a little bit, like the In Search of Darkness. I don't know if you've seen those guys' work. And In Search of Tomorrow, they're doing great stuff.
Great stuff.
And there's also guys who have made like a Ghostbusters documentary they put together with fan funding that's amazing.
Yeah.
There's a RoboCop documentary coming up, I believe, and a couple other ones like that.
Well, the one I did with John Campia, the movie trailer's a love story.
Exactly.
We did that, and then John financed that himself, but then he put it up on Vimeo and Amazon, and it made its money back very quickly. So while he shelled out cash, he was able to make it back in the first month. And, I think it's amazing, and it's allowing people to create, which I think is amazing. So, by the way, Mercer Create sends in a super chat and says, we're an underground revolution working overtime. Yep. And I think that's pretty correct.
I think so.
And it just depends what you want to do. And then Andrew Christie says, it's that time of night. I got my midnight Terramana tequila. Man, The Rock knows how to sell a brand. Black Adam is going to be metal as fuck. Yes,
funny you mentioned that. I'm editing a video, and I was just on a section about that because we're talking about what's going on over at Warner and AT&T and all that business, and how The Rock is kind of a bit of a stone in the shoe of Warner Brothers for wanting to get rid of the Snyderverse. Because as you'll know, The Rock and Henry Cavill share the same agent. and rumor is, I'm sure you've heard things of this sort, The Rock is very keen on facing off with Henry Cavill in his Black Adam movie.
How cool would it be to see Black Adam versus Superman in the black suit?
Right.
You know, the two of I mean, no, I think that it's fascinating, you know, what's happening with all this. And again, I think a lot of that is how all of this is a continuum. The fans can have immediate feedback, and you know,
Exactly.
it depends, you know, who you listen to, but the fact that obviously we saw Zack Snyder made himself available for better and worse all over the internet for people, and whether he was appearing on Uche's screen or stream, or like Grace Randolph. I mean, he made himself available, and you don't usually get that kind of access. And he
No.
did it, and it was amazing. I think at the end of the day, you have to remember, you have to think like Zack Snyder. He went on those channels. He didn't have to, you know. And the fact that like I've been able to call people up and ask people to come on my channel, like Barbara Crampton, who I knew through social media. Who, by the way, one of the most delightful people in entertainment. I mean, she's amazing.
You know, I've came this close to meeting her like 3 times. That's what's funny.
She's just delightful, and watching her amazing career resurgence. I mean, she went away for 20 years to be a mom, and now she's all over the place. She's amazing. But the fact that you can get people, I did a great stream with David Goodman, who's a producer on the Orville, an executive producer of the Orville, but he's also the president of WGA. You know, I call him up and say, hey, man, you want to come on? We have a 2-hour conversation. It was great. Brian Fuller comes on, you know, and the fact that we can now get that people are willing. The great thing about COVID, the stream that we did with Pauly from Latino Slant with you guys,
Yeah.
that was an incredible stream. Like when I suggested, you guys, I didn't know about it, and you both, you and Pauly say, well, stay afterwards, and you told me this was happening, and I just like, oh my God. And then I'm like, you should have Taylor Hackford. I didn't know Taylor Hackford. I had no idea when I said we should get Taylor Hackford to be on the stream. I didn't know how to get him. I called.
Yeah, but that brought it all together.
I called 2 people. The first person didn't know. The second person was like, yeah, I'll help you out. And then I got his assistant, you know, and then Taylor Hackford's like, you got to have Jimmy Santiago Baca. I'm like, that was beyond my wildest imaginings that we could get this incredibly renowned Chicano
twist
poet.
my arm. Yeah.
And it was fantastic. And I was very, you know, I tried to be. I said, listen, if you want to come on for 10 minutes or however, you know, it's fine. That dude hung out for 2 hours.
More than that, I think.
More, yeah. I mean, and Jimmy.
That 2-hour mark is when Helen popped in. But
yeah, I mean, that was in Helen Mirren. Hi, I love it. She's off. I've been listening to the stream. It's very interesting. I was like, can we do Excalibur? You know, but that was amazing. I mean, it's just amazing what YouTube has afforded the world.
No, man, it was awesome. And like I said, you having that happen really brought that together, man. Like, if it wasn't for that, I mean, we had everybody who was popping in there, but I'll be real with you. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that I brought up, oh, by the way, we might have Taylor coming in. I don't think Ben Bratt shows up. I don't think a couple of the other guys show up.
Yeah.
Because we knew a few who were gonna be there.
Right.
But the other ones were like, we might be there. This, you know, and then there was you know, a tragedy with like a pet for the other guys, one of the other guys, and we're like, oh, we don't know if he was showing up, but yeah, it was great. And then like you know, and then we were sitting there talking all night with oh gosh, his name just escaped me. Jesse, yeah. Jesse Braga. Like that was amazing. Like all the stories he was telling, you could tell he just loved to tell those stories.
No, it was great, and everybody had a good time. And what happens is, you know, then Taylor Hackford tells his friends, "Hey, you know, I went on this Midnight Dead stream with Latino Slant and the guys, and it was great. They were great. 2.5 hours was great because everybody, you know, wants to talk about their career. And the funny thing is, most celebrities and things like that are wary of the press because everyone's looking for some gotcha moment or whatever. But when you're talking about a movie that we love, like Blood In, Blood Out, there is no gotcha moment. You're there to talk. Blood In, Blood Out is fucking metal, man, and people are they're into it. So it was great, and everybody loved each other, and that's what I also think is cool. Like I like celebrating people. Like to be honest, I'm never going to celebrate Star Trek Discovery. I'm just not. I'm never going to do that. But for the most part, I can celebrate everything else. However, if Alex Kurtzman called me and said, I want to go on your channel and debate you, I would be respectful. I would say, okay, please, come on, let's talk. But I'm not going to pull my punches.
No.
Alex Kurtzman is not metal.
No. No, he's farthest from metal you could find.
He's not metal.
That's for sure. Have you ever met him, like in real, like
No,
face to face?
no,
No. Okay.
no. I've never met him. Yeah,
Let's just say I
I've
know
met
you know
I've
people
met
who
Bob
have.
Orsi.
Oh,
I've
have
talked
you?
to
What'd
Bob
you think of
Orsi.
him?
I liked him. I think Bob Orsi was really nice. I mean, he really knew Star Trek. He was truly a fan, and he was a really nice guy. I think that everyone else is. I'm not a fan of J.J. Abrams as a filmmaker.
Have you ever met him at all?
No, I've never met J.J. Abrams, and I just think that he's made 5 science fiction movies, and I've hated them all.
Yeah, they're garbage.
I even hated Super 8, and
I
I just
fucking hate Super 8.
yeah, and I was like, I
Sorry,
can't.
I should have sworn.
Yeah, I can't deal.
Well, that's
But
not metal, not swearing. So
yeah, no. So
it's late enough. I think we can swear on Robert's channel now.
yeah,
No, man. So I'm curious though, of all the people you know, now you specifically don't have to say who, but you can say anybody who's told. Has anybody ever told you any stories about Kurtzman, like what he's really like to deal with, what he's like to work with?
no. I really I don't know anybody from that camp. You know, that's so distant, so far away from anybody that I know. You know, I know that J.J. Abrams grew up in Hollywood. He's a Hollywood kid. People knew him. He was working for Spielberg when he was 16 or whatever, and so he's very ensconced in the industry, which is fine. I mean, they've done a lot of stuff with television, and you know, I like Person of Interest. I liked a lot of the stuff they've done for TV, but usually they fuck it up after a season or two. They have something going that's good, and then they wreck it. But
yeah, he has very limited attention span. It seems like.
Judah Khan sends in a super chat and says, "This is so cool, building my model rocket and listening to you guys. I have 2 model, you can't see them, but they're hanging from my ceiling, 2 mid-powered rockets. One is an Estes E interceptor, and then there's another the Interrogator G that can go up to, I think, M engines. But I've got a bunch of model rockets, and I've got an old Estes Alien Interceptor over there. I'm a huge model rocket fan." And Jack Wallace sends in a super chat and says, "Hell yeah, let's make a movie. Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Let's make one."
Okay. Yeah. I think we're all in. Well, I mean, there's some things that are rolling. I know there's some ideas I have. I know there's some ideas other people have. But yeah, no, I mean, even Kevin Smith has been doing this for years. Like his last, 4 or 5 movies have all been crowdfunded.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, and then he did those. Well, like I went and saw Red State when he took it around the country. You know, but that, yeah, I think it's the same thing. It's what Ethan Van Sciver is doing with his comics, like Cyberfrog. Why not? Why have middlemen? The problem is, like, making movies is incredibly difficult because it's expensive, 1.
Yes.
But 2, then you have to go through people that the gatekeepers are inherently not. They're not going to say yes. They're not there to say yes. There's too much risk involved, and anytime they make a mistake, they get fucked. So it's really hard. But then again, the hardest thing is you might be able to go raise financing, but then you have to figure out, well, how are you going to get it distributed? Who's going to buy your movie? Like for Tango Shalom, when it was completely independent, we have it. It's playing at different film festivals. It's playing at the Miami Jewish Film Festival next, and we're trying to get as many awards and things. We haven't even sent it to distributors. You know, it's like we'd rather get the buzz. I mean, it is what it is. It's not exactly our wheelhouse. Certainly, it's not an imagination connoisseur type of a film. My grandmother would love it, but still, it is what it is. I think it's really well done, and I'm very proud of it. And yeah.
No, but what you are though is in a situation where the world that we're in now, drive-ins have opened back up.
I know.
A lot of independent theaters and even the some of the bigger theaters have opened up the theaters for can't remember what the name of it was, but you used to be able to do it back in the day. You basically would rent a theater and you'd sell the tickets on your own, and you get to keep the box office.
That's called four-walling.
Far-walling. Thank you. I knew the word, but I couldn't remember what the hell it was called. That's what it was. Yeah, so like that's kind of a thing's coming back. So maybe we're on the cusp of that. I mean, and I've said, every so many years in Hollywood, we're going to come back around to one of those, back in the day of four-walling and all this other kind of stuff, like, but just add in the internet and the audience is pre-built through guys like you and us and everybody else who's on here. And that's the beauty of it is we get the word out there about this stuff, and that's how it gets seen.
No, I mean, I look, I agree. And like, if I had the internet when we made Free Enterprise,
Right.
I would have had a much different
Oh,
career.
hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I still want to. My goal for this year is I want to acquire the negative and figure. I mean, I need, in order to do what I want to do with Free Enterprise, I need like $500,000. And
Look, dude.
but the problem is I don't own the movie. I have to go to my producer, the executive who paid for it, and say, look, I have to give him money to buy the movie. Then I have to do everything I need to do because people haven't seen it. It's like a forgotten geek film.
Yeah.
And I think it would find a whole new audience, especially if it was in 4K. And once I have the rights and had the money I mean, if I had the rights and could and own the negative, then I could solicit, buy the Blu-ray, buy the 4K, and the pre-orders would pay for the restoration of the film because I'd be doing all the work myself. But yeah, that's definitely something that is. I was going to ask, isn't Andre in finance? I was going to ask him. Hey,
Yeah, actually, I was going to say, talk to us, dude, because I know you don't probably want to crowdfund something like that, but like, you may be able to like get a few of us, like, I don't mean like us, but like, a few guys like us together to actually help you out with that and get involved with it and help produce the Blu-ray then on the back end.
Yeah, I mean
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really, the first thing I'd have to do is buy the rights to the film,
exactly.
And once then I could do whatever I wanted. And
Exactly.
it seems it was such a shame that I couldn't do it before Shatner's 90th birthday.
I know.
But then
man.
once you have it, like if it was done, we could take it on the road like Kevin Smith did, like a night
Absolutely.
with William Shatner, and show Free Enterprise, and then have him come out, and talk. By the way, Latino
totally
Slant, Paulie,
Hey, Paulie.
fired in a super chat. Paulie, we were just talking about you, and how great you are, and how great that stream was.
Yeah, man.
So
I can't wait to do more. I know we brought up a few possibilities.
Yeah. No, and I think I'm very optimistic about the future of YouTube and where it's very interesting. I mean, as much as they take away how much they take, you have to be very careful what you say and monetization and all that, but it's still a worldwide platform that they've built. They archive all of our stuff. It's incredible.
Yeah, as often as I get a lot of people, griping about what we can and cannot do, it's like, guys, come on. We couldn't be doing this if we were on cable TV. We couldn't be doing this if we were on radio. There's crap that we say and do that we would never get away with, right? Like, so, I mean, for as much as we're tied with our hands behind our back, it's really maybe one hand behind our back, if that.
Right.
And it's not even that. It's real loose. I don't complain as much. Like, really, as long as you're not out here talking about some politics or whatever, like, which you normally don't do anyway, and we don't do. So, yeah, I mean, you're going to be fine. And you're not doing anything or talking about anything that you guys would, like you would never go into or we would never really get into. So, like, I mean, yeah, we can't complain too much. There's never been a greater time to be what we are as nerds, because you're right. Like, we have this moment in time right now where we can take advantage. And I sound like such a stoner. Like, the universe is in my fucking thumbnail. No, like, we got this moment in time where we can really take advantage of this. And I think you're onto something with like getting your movie back. I think that would be one of the best things you could do right now. I think it would be a home run for you. And you have the audience again to represent it to the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's how I know you. I mean, I knew you did other stuff too, but I mean, it was from that movie that I became acquainted with who you were, because it was like, oh, okay, so this guy's the Kevin Smith of this.
Right.
When I saw that movie on Stars, and I clicked with it, and especially movies like that, because when I saw a movie like that, it's like, I can do that. That's what I want to do. And it was guys like you and Kevin and Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez who made me realize I can make a movie with nothing. You don't have to have anything but what you have at your disposal. And that's what counts. And I heard you talking about just the other day, I think on your podcast, or it was on our podcast, one of the two when you were on there, but you're talking about just work with what you got. I think it's Robert Rodriguez's book that starts out, I had a turtle, a guitar, and a guitar case, and something else, and a highway. And that's how I started.
From El Mariachi.
El Mariachi, yeah. That's what you do. It's Kevin Smith, the same thing. I got a convenience store and a video store to work with.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, I look at something like, have you ever seen the show Letterkenny?
I think so, yeah.
It's a Canadian show. I mean, it's hilarious. But I mean, it seems to me like the same thing. You got a bunch of actors, they got together, they have a small town in Canada, and they went and did this thing. Like Schitt's Creek, the same thing. They got
Yes, yeah.
Eugene Levy and his son, and they got Catherine O'Hara and a bunch of other people, and like, let's make this show, and no one pays really attention to it, and then it wins, Emmys and shit. And I think
they learned from like the Spinal Tap crew, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but you still have to have talent. You still have to have the ability, and I think that's cool. I mean, I think that's a cool thing. But we now live in a world where it can be done because you no longer have to. I mean, when you go to a film festival with your independent movie, how many people get to see your movie? 500, 1,000, and how many film festivals do you go to? 10, 20. So maybe 20,000 people, depending on how many go to festivals or whatever. On YouTube, you put up a movie and your subscription base is 10 times that. And this idea that
overnight that many people could see it.
Yeah, overnight. Like you promote something and they can watch your film, and like you say, okay, viewers, for my viewers of my channel, everybody gets a special discount rate, $5. You can see the movie. It's going to play on these times, and people log in. And like John Campia, Movie Trailers, A Love Story, he made back his money in a month, less than a month. Saying, yeah. And you put it up and you have your reach because you've got the views, you got the subscribers, so it changes the game. I mean, you can make something, you're going directly to your audience as opposed to selling it to a distributor who then you can tell a distributor, no, here's my audience. They don't get it. They don't listen to you. And then they do something wrong and the movie gets buried or whatever. And then it dies a slow, painful death. And you might have worked on it for 5 fucking years. But you put it out on YouTube, you talk directly to your audience, and everybody knows what you're doing. And people get you. And you don't have to deal with a distributor.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about like your stuff is you already have an example of stuff you've made. You have The Hills Run Red, and you have Free Enterprise and all these other things. And like you said,
Dota, Dragon's End, I worked on that.
You've done that brand new, and so like, that's the thing is you already have something with like Free Enterprise where you have Shatner already involved. It's not like you have to go out and get him now, but like, that's the other great part is we don't have to have Johnny Depp and all these other major movie stars in our movies, but you know what? Nerds know movie stars. And you get somebody from Star Trek, you get somebody from Babylon 5, you get somebody from maybe one of the Doctor Who's or something like that. You get enough of these people together, and you've got more than you would have gotten if you would just say got Ben Affleck or Johnny Depp or somebody to that effect, and then that's what we do. And then you just keep building from there. And I mean, Shatner's one of those guys where he's totally game for a lot of cool shit. Like you were saying, like, I mean, if you get his trust, it sounds like he's willing to go to the mat for you. Man.
Yeah. By the way, I got a few more. Saberwolf sends in a tip and says, "Hey Rob, what are your thoughts on Howl's Moving Castle?" I love Howl's Moving Castle. Really amazing animation. Billy Crystal as Calcifer, but man, Christian Bale was on another level voicing Howl. One of my favorites. He was great in Howl's Moving Castle. I loved that. He was great. But I tend to watch the movie in its original language, subtitled. So I guess that I don't enjoy it as much. But Leon sends in a super chat and says, "Here's to hoping you get Free Enterprise back." Well, Leon, from your mouth to God's ears, I hope so. But now, Tom, this one's for you, buddy. Dieter Bastian, my band Dieter, my favorite German all the way from Saarbrücken, Deutschland, says, "Nice to have another guest on Midnight Metal. And to that end, Tom, you said you do a better Arnie impression on the live chat of Let's Get Physical Media last Sunday. So let's hear it." Dieter is putting you on the spot to do Arnie.
Which Arnie?
Don't try and punk out that way. You have to. It's your call. You get to decide which Arnie.
We can just talk to Arnold too. I mean, of course, Andre likes the Conan Arnold, but me, I could do just about any Arnold. When he's just hanging around and talking like that. Yeah,
that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good.
It's Arnold.
Welcome to the party, Richter. Yes. That's pretty good.
Welcome to the party, Richter. Yeah.
I love it.
Get your ass to Mars.
Jashan Cater sends in a super chat and says, "I'm happy, and sometimes I'm sad. But I'm really happy that you are always there, R&B. I am so happy to have found your channel. I really appreciate you and all of your content. Thank you, sir. And stay fucking metal. Fuck yeah! Metal!
Hell yeah.
We're always going to be metal. Metal is a state of mind. You know what metal is? When you're metal and you're banging your head, it means you're free. It means you're free. You're unshackled from your regular life. You have been set free as an individual, as a person. And that is what head banging is all about. That's what being metal really is. Metal shackles, metal chains have kept people down too long in history, but when you are metal, you break those chains and you are free.
That's right.
That's what it means to be metal. Eric O'Sullivan says, good morning, Rob and Tom. I wake up at 4 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time and I work at 6 a.m. I'm a chef. So nice to wake up to your familiar faces. Much gratitude and love. My first Soul of Chigokin arrives Tuesday. Mazinga Zeto. Mazinger Z. Let me tell you, you know what Soul of Chigokin is? That's fucking metal. Soul of Chigokin is Japanese diecast of the highest order. My God, I love it. As a matter of fact, I mean, this is going to seem strange and off the wall, but this is a piece. This is one of the arms of a Soul of Chigokin, Getter Robo Messiah, I think it's called. But yeah, so anyway, I was just playing with it earlier today, putting them together. He goes on that shelf over there. But yes, I'm glad that you have. Is that a kaiju you have there?
No, this is actually Toka from Ninja Turtles 2.
Oh, there you go. All right.
I was impressed because it was a NECA. They don't normally do a good job, but they did a really good job on these two.
I want to know what Eric Sullivan cooks. He's a chef. He's working at 6 a.m., so it's probably does he work at some breakfast some like big breakfast place?
I want to go restaurant.
Yeah, man. Echo Base Network sends in a super chat and says, since Tom is here, better soundtrack, Iron Eagle or Top Gun? Iron Eagle or Top Gun, Tom? What do you think?
Iron Eagle's the better soundtrack. We know this, Nick.
What is it with you people in Iron Eagle? What are you
kids? You're just learning this?
I keep hearing about Iron Eagle, Jason Gedrick, Pappy, Louis Gossett Jr. Everyone loves Iron Eagle, man.
That's the answer. Because Louis Gossett Jr. is cooler than Tom Cruise.
Rachel McLish, who comes on Iron Eagle 2, right?
So. Nobody cares about the rest. But.
They don't.
Well, that and Queen's on the soundtrack. That trumps just about everything. So,
well, Echo Base Network says, love the Midnight Metal Show. Keep these coming. Well, look, this is the third one in a row. I mean, these are going to be random. These are just random. I wanted to cement the Midnight Metal ideal in people's minds. Drinking at night, I should be in bed right now. I've got to get up and do a stream. I have to do like 4 shows tomorrow. So, but it is.
I know, we got to figure out when we're doing Bond again, but I hate bugging you about it.
No, I know we should do it.
I know you're so busy.
No, but I'm getting less busy because things are finishing.
Well, just let me know when a day is good for you.
Geekicidal Tendencies sends in a super chat and says, who wins in a drinking contest highlighted by an arm wrestling contest between Admiral Adama, Admiral Janeway, and Admiral Kirk? Screaming metal.
Kirk all the way.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, it's Kirk. Look, some people might say Admiral Adama, and I know there's Janeway fans, but it's Kirk all the way. Kirk all the way.
Yeah. He's got those eyes. He'll just charm her.
Dieter Bastian sends in a super chat and says, well, Tom, I'll admit I lost the contest. Your Arnold's better. Your Arnold's better. Your Arnold is more metal. Decidedly more metal.
Mental health will drive you mad. Yeah.
It's true, by God.
I've got a little pony and a little horse. Yeah.
What's your favorite Schwarzenegger film?
Oh, gosh. I got to go with Terminator. Or Terminator 2, I guess. Since he's in it more, Terminator 2 probably. But I'm one of those people that will tell you flat out, they're the same movie. Terminator 2 is just done better with more money. That's all. They're even the same script. I mean, they really are.
Yeah.
The only thing that's, even line for line in some scenes. But no, like Terminator 2 is just, it's great. That's probably his it's just his iconic role. But other than that, like as far as like, that's a very good question.
It's tough. So I gotta ask you a question too. So Jashan Cater, who sent in the super chat and talked about finding the channel, you know, when people write in, like I get a lot of people who are very nice to me. You know, like Jashan says, I'm happy and sometimes I'm sad, but I'm happy that you are always there on the channel. How much of an obligation do you feel to your audience?
110%.
Yeah, me too.
That's why I'm here. I mean, if it wasn't for you guys listening, no. I mean, we always joke about it. We say we'd be talking to ourselves, but it's true. I mean, it'd be a phone conversation, or it'd be just me talking to a screen, looking at myself, or you know, whatever. It's the audience is everything. You guys are every bit of this. You make it happen.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, I have to say, my one of my British expat, this beautiful singer, Lynn Hobday, who she lives in Japan. She says she sent in a tip, and she says just pop in and say hi and leave a wee tip. The R&B and the PGS is always such an inspiration. My nose has been to the grindstone, but hope to write in the near future 4K versions of Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and Empire of the Senses. Wow. You know, that's some Oshima double. That's a Nagisa Oshima double bill right there, with castration. I'm into that. So, by the way, this is Jashan Cater writes in again and says, for your 666th episode, I was wondering, is Junkie XL's soundtrack for Mad Max Fury Road metal? Are you kidding me? The Doof Warrior is the most metal shit ever. I mean, he is shredding during a car chase while his guitar is breathing fire. There is nothing more metal than the Doof Warrior from Mad Max Fury Road. Nothing. So yes. Oh wait, Lynn says that Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and Empire of the Senses are being released in the cinema next month. Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence was instrumental in me coming to Japan. Thoughts? I love Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence, and of course I love Ryuichi Sakamoto and David Sylvian's Forbidden Colors from that film. I love that movie. That movie is great, and David Bowie is great in it. In the Realm of the Senses, which I think is what you mean. In the Realm of the Senses, is talk about a twisted love affair. Another great movie. Nagisa Oshima is a master, so both of those films are definitely worth seeing. By the way, Echo Base Network wants to know who's better, Janeway or Cisco? Bruh, come on now. Cisco kicks Janeway's ass.
We answer at the same time too.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I've never been a Janeway fan. I can say that.
No,
I'm not even giving two craps about Prodigy at all.
Yeah, me neither. Ash Chauhan is here and says, as 4 a.m. approached last night, I remember you saying you didn't know when you would do another Midnight Metal show. Maybe 2 weeks, 3-4 months. Here we are 24 hours later. I would pay good money for a 24-hour R&B channel. You're not the first to suggest that. If I could have other people pick up the slack, I mean, it is called the Burnettwork. Right. And my dream would be to do 24-hour programming. I would love that. But that means I'd have other creators come on. And we created a partnership program. So where if you wanted to come on the channel, and we would put you on our channel so you'd have our subscribers, and we split the revenue. I think it's 60-40. It's a revenue split to start out with, and you have to create like 5 shows. So we have 5 shows to bank, but you have to make a pilot. We're doing that because the idea that it would be, if you have a show idea and you want to do a show, and we like it, we'll put it on the channel, and I would love to broadcast 24/7, but that would be a tall order. Could you guys ever do that? Would you ever do that? 24/7?
It's plausible. I don't know if like 24 hours of actual.
You have to have other people have shows and stuff because I was thinking about like if you like say pre-recorded interviews, and if I could bank interviews and then have other people's shows and create, but it's to do it 24/7, 7 days a week, I don't know if I could
And not
do
have
that.
anything that would repeat. That's tough.
I mean, brutal.
The only other way I've heard of people talking about this, because I know some people have been playing with Roku and some things. They've talked about maybe doing like a community channel or a Fandom Menace channel or what have you. And I know you're not necessarily consider yourself part of the Fandom Menace, but yeah, like to where they would just basically run videos from various channels 24/7. But no, I get what you're saying. Like I would definitely that would be great. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us would love to be able to pull something like that off. Is it possible though? I don't know. And then you're expecting a lot of your audience at the same time too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you never know. I mean, even if you run maybe a 12-hour schedule and then just rerun that same schedule, like a lot of the cable networks do, that's maybe not a bad idea. So you have 12 hours of content a day that's new.
But then if you like, how do you interact? Like if you want to do super chats or tips or whatever, how would somebody be manning that programming all the time? Or you just, because I think what people don't understand is the economics are different. Like, when YouTube sticks in ads, YouTube takes 50% of that ad revenue. So I'd love to do it though. I'd love to do it.
Yeah, the thing is, it's weird. Is like each channel we have here is almost like its own show, not a channel, and that's kind of how IMDb treats them as well.
I think it's so weird that YouTube channels are on the IMDb.
I know.
I mean, it's good, but I like they don't. Like it says that Robservations only has like 40 episodes. I did my 653rd episode today, and it's not, it's not like they're updating that. Yeah, and that's a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck Philpott sends in a super chat and says, "I'm out doing some shopping this afternoon, all quiet in the van until my 7-year-old son yells out, 7 days till Godzilla versus King Kong. 7 long days." Well, Chuck, first of all, your 7-year-old is fucking metal, man. Fucking metal. Because nothing is more metal than Godzilla versus Kong.
Sounds
by the way,
like me.
Team Godzilla all the way. Godzilla's been to space. What can I say? King Kong, biplanes take him out. Biplanes killed him, remember. Godzilla
It's not the
will
same
kick
Kong.
your ass. Godzilla has Minya. Godzilla has a son. And I'm telling you, I don't understand the racist Americans that are all Team Kong. You are racist. I am all about my Asian science fiction.
We love that monkey.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, they want to touch that monkey. I get it. But I'm all about Godzilla. I'm all about Godzilla.
You know how it works in these movies. You've seen the original one. It's not the same Kong.
Well,
it's a Kong.
It's a Kong, but okay.
I know.
Lynn knows. Reality, Lynn Hobday knows what I'm saying. Lynn is in Japan. She knows. One day I'm going to come visit her, and I'm going to spend a lot of my money on Soul of Chogokin toys. And
Toho even let Kong win.
Yeah, well, I mean, they were just trying to curry favor with the Americans back in the day, yo.
Yeah, sure.
No. Jashan Cater sends in another super chat and says, "For me, Terminator 1 was like a horror film. Terminator 2 is a fantastic action film."
Very true. Very true. It's the same story told from a different way. And basically all the lines that Reese has are spoken by Arnold and Linda Hamilton, and all the lines Linda Hamilton had are spoken by Edward Furlong, and so on down the line. And,
yeah. By the way, the first viewer of my channel that I ever met in the flesh was Captain Brad Brickley, and I met him at a convention in Wenatchee. He is here. He sent in a super chat. Captain Brad, he's a real captain. He is a ferry captain in Washington State, and the Washington State ferry system, the ferries are 300 feet long.
Wow.
And they have 2 stories of cars. They are ginormous boats. They're huge. And Captain Brad is a real Washington State ferry captain. He says, "I just got off work. My ferry is metal." It is metal. And if you ever go to Seattle, you have to take a ferry. You have to take a while. It doesn't matter. You can take a ferry to Bainbridge Island and stay on the ferry. These things are huge. And Captain Brad was talking about doing a sitcom based on a Washington State ferry, which I think is a genius idea, and I would love to produce that. And Captain Brad would have to play himself. He'd be like Captain Steubing in the Love Boat. So, Saberwolf sends in a tip and says, Rob, it's almost here. Kong versus Godzilla. Can't wait. Team Godzilla all the way, because after all, what is a king to a god? Goddamn right, Saberwolf. That is, you know what? You, sir, are metal. Maybe Saberwolf isn't a sir. I don't want to misgender you. What do you think?
Don't cry to me. Don't cry to me when you see a god bow to a king. That's all
are you Team Kong? Are you one of these people?
Am.
Oh my god, I can't believe.
I love Godzilla. Don't get me wrong, but
you don't love Kong, Godzilla enough, Tom.
Well, here's the thing, because Kong was my introduction to monster movies. Kong scared the shit out of me so bad when I was a kid. My parents had to drive home 4 hours from a camping trip because I saw Kong on this little itty bitty black and white screen, and I'm like, the monkey's gonna eat me. We gotta go home.
Wow.
I cried and cried and cried until they took me home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
so from that moment on, my love for Kong was solidified, and to me, Godzilla's just been this goofy lizard who does this dance.
Oh, that's only in one. Come on, that was just in one movie. You know.
I know.
You know, it depends what your Godzilla oeuvre is, but you know that he did kick ass.
I got to pick on the Godzilla people sometimes, though. No, I love Godzilla, though. Growing up watching Godzilla on like TBS and USA and stuff like that. Oh yeah, and I got that Godzilla. I just watched King Kong versus Godzilla last night.
Come on, dude. I got my SH figure arts or whatever.
I got a NECA one.
I love these. Yeah. I love these. And by the way, I mean, Godzilla's a dad. You know, yes, so I've got Godzilla and Minya, and Godzilla is Godzilla. Cool. Yeah, so I got Minya, the little, you know, hello from a Godzilla's Revenge. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. Godzilla steps on his tail, and he finally learns how to blow his atomic breath out. So, there you go.
I'm gonna go off camera for 2 seconds here. I'll go grab mine.
Yeah. Well, can't believe it. Tom is Team Kong. What the fuck is that about? Tom is not metal when it comes to his kaiju taste. Just saying. What until he gets back.
Oh, wait, what? Any better? I've got a buttload of Godzillas too. I've only got a few. Well, that's good. There's only a few Kongs. This one's a NECA one I had to get because it actually has the 33 Kong face on it.
That's a good one. Yeah,
that's cool. What I like about that. But no, I've got Godzillas from all over the place, man.
As well, you should.
Yeah, I've only got.
By the way, Godzilla has better friends too. Rodan.
I'm not going to argue with that. You
know, I mean, no one came to take King Kong to a Planet X in Godzilla versus the Astro Monster like that. That never happened to Kong. He's been stuck on Skull Island like his whole life. What does he know about the world?
He's got a thing for blondes.
He doesn't have he does. I'm there for that, but I'd prefer if he had a thing for redheads. But what can I say?
Me too. But,
Naomi Watts was a hottie. So was Fay Ray.
As I say, so was Fay Ray and
Jessica Lange.
Jessica Lange, yeah.
Mm. Yeah. I can't wait to get Scream Factory's King Kong disc. I have the 76 John Gillerman King Kong. I have that on Blu-ray already, a foreign disc, but that King Kong, I can't wait to get that.
I've got 3 of those already imported, and I just imported one of them, and they announced that, and I'm like, all right, that's fine, because it's got all kinds of special features on it, so I'm cool with that. And aren't they rescanning it too?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I love John Barry's score for that too. It's
God, I know, right?
It's great. Dirty
metal.
Dirty Soul Monkey sends in a super chat and says, "I would 100% contribute to a crowdfund to get the rights for Free Enterprise to you, Rob. Make it happen." Here's the thing, Mark Gottwald, who owns the movie, paid for the movie. He has the rights. I couldn't crowdfund. It because I couldn't guarantee that. Look, after Axanar and all that, I will never crowdfund something that I don't control, and unless I can deliver, like I can't. If I had the rights and I own the negative, and then I would crowdfund, or I just pre-sell the 4K. I'd do a 3-disc set, at least a 3-disc set, where I'd offer my new version, my definitive cut of the movie in 2:3:9:1 widescreen, and then I would offer the 2006 version and the original theatrical version, and I would do a whole big box set, and that's what I would do. But I couldn't. Couldn't do that until I owned the rights.
And that's where I was saying, you would you would definitely want to do that with yourself and maybe a few private partners, and then
Yep.
that's where like the other stuff would come in to help do the 4K scan and all that stuff. And that's actually, had a question for you.
Yes.
Who would you want to do that Blu-ray for you? Would you want to go with Shout still, even though you had to do with that stuff before? Or
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I loved working with Shout Factory and Hills Run Red. By
that's
the way,
what I thought.
I didn't know this. But the Hills Run Red Blu-ray is nominated for a Rondo Award for Best Special Features. I didn't know this, which is cool. I have to say, even though I did it, I would not vote for it.
I know you vote for the Dawn of the Dead.
Yes, I mean the Dawn. I would vote for the Dawn of the Dead box set. But it's nice to be nominated for the Rondo Awards. I mean, I thought it was great. I mean, I'm really proud of what we did, the special features, because there's a lot of them. And I was able to go back and do that. That was one of the things I did. That was the first thing I did after getting locked down here in LA, starting at the end of March. We started, we spent 2 months I spent 2 months, that's all I did, really. I streamed and I edited stuff for Hills Run Red. But so that was cool.
So if they would have it, was that who you'd prefer to go through?
I mean, I love Shout Factory. I look, at first I would probably try and sell it direct. Like I would sell it direct to do it myself. However, I mean, I love Shout. But in terms of like, I know somebody who does the packaging and design work. I would love it if either Arrow or Second Sight did it. Arrow, I love what Arrow's been doing. I love their packaging. I love and Second Sight. They did the Dawn of the Dead box set.
You got to throw in a score CD as well.
Yeah, no, I would. Well, what I want to do is one of the things I want to do. This is might be controversial. I want to rescore the movie.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. I have a composer I want to work with on because Scott Spock, that's his real name, who scored Free Enterprise, used some library cues. So there's music in the movie that's not real score that was written for the film, and I think a lot of it just sounds a little thin. And
I just said that because the other CD's available, but the score isn't.
The score isn't, no. And I would love to re-release the soundtrack and do all that. I would do the soundtrack hopefully through like La La Land Records or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I want to do a whole new version of the movie. I want to there's a scene that I want to put back in the film. Actually, it's never been in the movie. And then the Logan's Run scene I want to expand a little bit because I shot it to get really surreal, and that's not really in there. And so...
I can't wait for that if that happens, man. Like I said, if anything, if we can help make that happen somehow, just let us know.
Yeah,
man.
I was actually going to talk to Andre about that because that he's in finance, I mean, it's a multi-tier process, and there's other things like, without saying anything one way or another, there is a streaming service that might be interested in picking up a new version of the film that would offset the costs.
There you go.
But you have to get the movie first. Like nothing. I can't do any of this stuff till I own it and can control it.
No, yeah, that's totally understandable, and that's why I was saying that before about obviously you wouldn't want to crowdfund that portion of it. So yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I just want to do it. You can see, like, I've recut and reframed. If you look on Free Enterprise, there is a playlist, a Free Enterprise playlist, where I've taken scenes from Free Enterprise. I've recut the whole movie. None of the edits. It's just tighter.
Did you shoot it in Super 35 originally, or
yes,
would you shoot it?
Yes.
Okay.
It was shot in Super 35. So
now is your widescreen version going to have a little bit more on the sides, or?
No, I mean but when I was shooting it, in my mind I was framing for widescreen.
Gotcha.
So that's how Cameron shoots. By the way, he's never shot anamorphic, and he mats things out. And you can move things around, and so yeah. But I think that if you look at the pieces that I put on my YouTube page on the Burnettwork, you can see the movie recomposed for 235. Especially if you look at the scene where Shatner meets the guys in the bookstore, I think it looks phenomenal. It looks way better than and I've just tightened the whole thing because I've learned more about editing in the last 22 years. So.
No, yeah, I can't wait to see that happens. I'm sure you got some more super chats though.
Oh yeah, Jason666 King sends in a super chat and says Batman versus Captain America. Take your time with this one. Ooh, that's tough. You know what, though? See, the thing about these characters is I think that they're fundamentally different in the sense that Captain America is somebody that he fights for the soul of America, whereas Batman fights for the soul of the individual. You know, Batman is somebody that he's on a personal mission, whereas Captain America represents all of us. And they're just different. They're inherently different. I mean, everybody wants to fight for what's right, but Captain America is fighting for a belief as well, whereas Batman is fighting for, you know, justice, obviously personal justice and the criminal element, but he's trying to help the man on the street, whereas Captain America is fighting for an ideal.
Yeah. And the closest you could come to that in DC would probably be Batman v Superman. And the difference between Superman and Captain America is I think Captain America would be more accepting of what Batman's doing than Superman would be.
Yeah, I agree.
So I don't think it would be as hardcore of a fight. Because I think you're right. I think at one point or another, Captain would pretty much understand what Batman's up to and realize he's not as much of a problem as Superman would treat him.
Right. I agree. And look, I mean, I think that Captain America, as he's been portrayed in the MCU, Chris Evans was great as Captain America. I mean, I really. I think one thing that it's weird to me that people are always comparing and contrasting the MCU and the DC movies because, I mean, like to me, the great thing about the MCU is that it really does recreate the experience of what it was like to read comic books when I was a kid. You know, there were all these ongoing storylines. Some comics would bleed into the others. They would have big summer crossover events and the annuals and that kind of thing. And I think, one, they've done an extraordinary job casting. I mean, Tony Stark, Thor, and Captain America, between Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, and Chris Hemsworth, and their costumes, you couldn't have done better. I mean, it was so amazing what they did. But I also feel that Zack Snyder also cast his characters extraordinarily well. I mean, Affleck as Batman, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and Henry Cavill as Superman are great. So I mean, I really think it's great. Oh, Roberto Suarez, who was on the stream last night, says, "Don't you ever sleep, Rob? Hello, Tom. Keep it metal." Yeah,
I'm trying.
Cardinal Sin sends in a super chat and says, "Rob, that's what Kickstarter is for. Proof of concept. Everyone that kicks in, if the project doesn't hit the goal, gets their money back. Budget it." Yeah, I don't want to do that. You know, I can't in good conscience. I haven't talked to Mark Gottwald. I haven't, you know, maybe I should ask him. I really haven't talked to him about it. But look, after the Axonar debacle, I would never do a Kickstarter that I couldn't fulfill.
Yeah, I could totally see where you're coming from on that.
Avar Jantz says, they had a DC Marvel crossover years back. Cap and Batman fought to a draw officially. That's,
that surprised me.
You know, I can see that. I mean, when I was a kid, Spider-Man and Superman teamed up. Chuck Philpott says Arrow's Blu-ray of the Guyver. That cover art is amazing. I'm just a huge Arrow fan. They do such a great job.
They do good work.
The Guyver's great. Sir Angus Fungus sends in a super chat and says, Anvil, the story of Anvil. It's a great doco. Yeah, it is. Have you ever seen that? It's pretty funny.
I believe so. That's the one that's kind of like Spinal Tap, right?
Yes, it kind of is like Spinal Tap.
Yeah, it's been years, but yeah.
So yeah. I don't know, like, let me ask you this. If you could do anything with your channel, if what would be something beyond streaming, what do you want to do?
Make movies probably would be it, or something to that effect. So yeah, it's definitely the next step. I mean, there's a lot of mini documentaries or retrospectives that I haven't done just because I'm like, you know what? This is going to be so much stuff. We'll save it and see if I can't get a documentary off the ground. And we even thought about doing that for Conan, but there's these guys who actually got one that's just about done. But we've been in contact and talking to them a little bit, and they're well aware of us because, you know, we're one of the go-to places for Conan news, obviously, because we know everybody involved with Conan.
Yeah.
The only person we got left is Arnold, which is the only person they got left to interview, evidently.
He'll probably do it
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Well, as far as us go, they've already got that kind of pinned. But no, there's a few ideas I've got for documentaries. Obviously, I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan.
Yeah.
The same guys did that Ninja Turtles documentary, and I would love to see a full-fledged documentary on just the movies, because that's something that's never gotten any really good behind-the-scenes treatment at all, especially on the Blu-rays. Like they've been and DVDs have been treated like crap over the years.
I know.
Otherwise, if I could do something that's not like in a creative aspect, bringing that part up, I would definitely want to get into some kind of like film preservation. I think there's a lot of movies that are being neglected, and I think the studios should open it up to a situation where the fans could fund some kind of restorations of these films.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of movies that are just in rough shape or just been lost to time and are never going to get any kind of recognition. Have never even been on DVD, let alone streaming or Blu-ray. So I'm sure that's something you could get behind.
I completely agree with that. Have you heard of a guy? He has a company or a website called Hong Kong Restoration.
Not offhand, I don't think.
He's a dude like it's just one guy, but he's been going in and like restoring the Jackie Chan movies and the John Woo movies, and he's doing The Killer now, and he doesn't have the greatest. Like I ordered some stuff from him back in December, and I haven't got them yet, but I don't care. I look at his updates. He does amazing work, and no one's paying him. He's just a fan, and we live in a world where fans like I know a guy. I don't know if I should say it. Oh, I'm gonna say it. So I know a guy. There are 3 Technicolor prints of the original Star Wars that exist in the world. 3. Yeah. Now, a Technicolor print doesn't fade because it's Technicolor, and they were made in China because Technicolor didn't exist anymore when 3-strip Technicolor didn't exist anymore when Star Wars came out, but it existed in China. So I know a guy, and I'm like, one day I want to call him up and be like, bruh. Everyone's doing copies of Star Wars, and I'm like, let me borrow your Technicolor print. I want to do a Wetgate 4K transfer. The problem is it's expensive to do, but and it's not like you could crowdfund it. I have a Technicolor print of Star Wars. If everybody kicks in $5, I can transfer it. No, they would put the smack down on that so fast, but I would love to do that because
I was just going to say, here's the thing I would talk about when you asked about doing something else, and I said getting in film restoration. One of the first things I would do is probably crowdfund the money to start up a facility to do that, so we could cut the cost of it exponentially.
Yeah, but it's so...
I know it's so expensive to do.
The actual machinery, your rank Cinetel or whatever, when you're literally scanning every frame, there's just you can't get around it. It's just you're dealing with one of the things about free enterprise. People go, why isn't it on Blu-ray? Well, when you have a negative, it's not digital. When you have shot negative, to clean it and transfer it, you're looking at basically $100,000.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
You can get it done for cheaper, but not much. So even to transfer free enterprise, it's $100,000, and that's after I have the rights. Right. So how do you, I could maybe do it for, like, I'll give you an example. So I'll even give you numbers. So Tango Shalom was shot in 5K on a red camera. So and of course, when you're shooting on a red camera, you're basically shooting, it almost looks black and white. It looks very milky when you look at it. And you have a LUT, like it's basically how does the color look? You set this LUT, the DP does, but then you still color time it all. And when you go in and color time a movie, it's expensive. Well, I figured out a way to even cut that price by a third, actually 2/3, and I was able to color time the entire Tango Shalom with multiple formats. It was a nightmare for less than $20,000. And that's cheap. It's really huge. And as a post-production supervisor, I kind of came up with this new, let's call it a workflow, that was developed over working on these things, and still, but even that's still 20 grand, and that's the cheapest you can get. I mean, you still have to have that $20,000, and when you're working on these things, it's expensive because it's very laborious. Post-production is all about labor. You can have the tools, but it's all about people having to do the work. You have to have guys and girls or whoever sitting there doing the actual meticulous frame by frame work, and it's not cheap. You cannot skimp on that. So
no, and that's where, like, I would say I would put more effort into first getting the facility, the crew, all that kind of stuff together, and then amortize the cost through other things down the line. But yeah, that's obviously, just things that I've thought of. But yeah, it's mainly just because I feel like Hollywood has not taken the initiative enough. And I know it'd be more difficult to deal with them, but that's where you make inroads by trying to create a situation where you can do it a lot cheaper, like you were saying. So, but yeah, you were going to say something there.
Well, no, I was going to say, Jashan Cater sends in a super chat and says, "Who is your partner tonight, Rob? Great chemistry." Well, let me just introduce everyone. If you don't recognize him already, I am honored to have the great Tom Connors here from Midnight's Edge. By the way, a YouTube channel that I was watching before I knew any of them. It was a channel that whenever I heard their do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and I would hear the sound effect of the projector starting, I loved Midnight's Edge before I knew these guys. I didn't know them at all, but I would watch because I liked the fact that they would do a lot of post-production and they edited their videos. And I loved Rob, who's not here with us tonight, the other Rob, the dulcet tones of his voice. I loved Midnight's Edge videos. And I didn't know Andre, and I didn't know Tom, and I certainly didn't know Rob, but I knew their work, and I was a fan. So to have Tom here on my channel, for me, is a great honor because they've kind of taken me in, and they've been very nice to me, everybody on the channel, and I was already a fan of what they were doing, and so it's great to finally be streaming with you, sir, on this channel. So thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Well, and the honor's all mine because, like, as I said in the beginning, it was because of a lot of the stuff you were doing that got me into the movies and stuff like that I'm into. And, your special editions and all that kind of stuff coming into this. And I remember finding your movie, I believe it was on Stars one night. And then, it was because of my love for Clerks that I saw it, the same kind of, tone or whatever you want to call it in that. And I'm like, I got to learn about this guy. And I learned about who you were and a little bit here and there. And, and then especially when I'd see on like the Star Trek things, like, I know that guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny to me because like when people get the Blu-ray of Next Generation and they get the second season and I host the roundtable discussion with the entire cast of Star Trek. People are like, "Oh my God." People are like, "You hosted it." And I'm like, because I don't think about this, you do stuff and it goes out there, but you're always working on new things. So it I don't go like, "Hi, my name's Rob Burnett. Here's what I've done." Like, I love it when people are like, "I love Army of Darkness." I'm like, I have a screen credit. If you look in the end titles, my name's in I worked on Army of Darkness for an entire summer.
You're humble about it. You're humble about it.
Because it's so, to me, you know what? I was a fan first. And like, to me, like, I have to say, while I might not be rich and I might not be a household name, I have had a lot of fucking fun. Like, I don't remember. As a fanboy, my life, I made a movie with my childhood idol. I, was in New Zealand working on Lord of the Rings. Everybody was scared to go interview Christopher Lee, so they flew me to London. And I interviewed Christopher Lee for 5 hours. It was the great, like, and it was funny. I was all alone. I was all by myself, and I went to London by myself. And at the time, I was married, and my wife was not with me on this trip. And I walked out of the interview with Christopher Lee. And I thought I had the biggest balls in the world. I felt so fucking good. And I'm like, I just spent 5 fucking hours with Christopher Lee. And I couldn't tell it. Nobody cared. Like, I'm in London. I don't know anybody in London. I'm like, I'm wandering around. I think I went into a pub that night and ordered like fish and chips or something. And I like told the bartender, I said, I just spent 5 hours talking to Christopher Lee. And he's like, oh, mate, that's great, mate. Good for you. You know, whatever. I'm like, nobody cared. And I'm like, so I don't, because I've learned not to, because nobody else cares. Nobody else cares as much as, because you don't walk around and go, I've done this. But I've had, if I were to die tomorrow, I'd be like, I had a good life. It was a good time. I enjoyed myself. I mean, how many fans, you know, and I know a lot of fans that came to LA and that have made something of themselves, which is inspiring. So it's good.
No, it's really cool. And I'm trying to remember where you told the story. It was either on one of your podcasts or somewhere, but like something to do with like, I think you just saw Batman and you're like, that's what I got to do. And you just took off to LA or something like that. Or how does it go? Or
well, no, it was you
knew Batman was coming, so you wanted to be a part of it or something like that. I can't remember.
Well, no, that you're there. Those are two different stories, but
okay, yeah.
But yeah, the what was, I mean, for me, what was really interesting was the thing that really did it was home video. Was I started working in home video when I was 13, when it was brand new, and I when I was bar mitzvah, because I'm a Jew. Happy Passover, happy Pesach, everyone. So I when I was bar mitzvah, I got a VCR in 1980. No one that I knew had a VCR, and in Seattle, it wasn't the first, because Video Station was the first, but one of the second video store chains or video stores in America opened in Seattle. And I had a VCR and I had bar mitzvah money. And I would go to this video store, and there was very few movies that had come out on pre-recorded cassette. And I literally would have to take 2 buses to get there. And I would go in, and I literally would walk into this store, you know, and there's like 100 movies on videotape. And I would just go in this store, like I'd go there 3 times a week. And the guys that worked there thought I was this weird, you know, 13-year-old kid. And back then you couldn't rent movies. What you would do is you would buy a movie, and you would buy a movie and you could keep it for a month. And then after the month was over, you could pay $10 and you could exchange your movie for another one, or you could keep your movie. There was no one was renting things then. You had to buy the tape. And so
they weren't cheap either.
No, they were like between $50 and $100, depending on what it was. And I had all this bar mitzvah money, and I would come in, and finally these guys, like, I literally was one of these people that would, I as a 13-year-old kid, I'd walk around the video store, and I would pick up the movie boxes and like, it's The French Connection. You know, and I would read them. I couldn't believe it, and that was when they would take the tape out and put a piece of they had a styrofoam block, and then they would re-shrink wrap the box, and they would have the box. So finally, these guys, my very first job was these guys are like, kid, if you're gonna come here anyway, why don't we put you to work? So they actually had me shrink wrapping the boxes.
Oh, cool.
And so I'm 13 years old, and so my job was when a box of tape would come in, I would be the first person to open them.
Yeah.
And like, I was there the day that MCA Home Entertainment, like, had their first 24 movies, because they'd come out on Laserdisc, but they hadn't come out on tape. And I get this box, and it's like Smokey and the Bandit. And back then there was VHS and beta, and we get 2 VHSs and a beta. And I had to open them up and take out the tapes and put them in the faux leather boxes, and then put the styrofoam in and shrink wrap them. And like, it was like it was like being able to hold the Holy Grail every day. I'm like, oh, my Earthquake, you know, or Jaws. Like, and I'm 13. I'm like, and it was, every tape was holy, you know, and that, because people are like, now they're probably thinking you're out of your mind, Rob.
No, I don't. I have a similar story, but go ahead.
But it was insane. And like, and then I get to take things home, which was, it was just, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be working at a store at 13, but the guys are like, the kid's gonna come anyway, and I would do the same thing. I just walk around, and and the reason I went in and then they put me to work is I wanted two movies. I wanted Phantasm and Dawn of the Dead. I'm like, where's Phantasm and where's Dawn of the Dead? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Well, Phantasm was finally put out by Magnetic Video because it was Avco Embassy. So I got Phantasm. And then Thorn EMI eventually put out Evil. Well, they put out Evil Dead, but they put out Dawn of the Dead. And here's the thing: the two guys, their names were Bud Warner and Steve Pitcher. They were the guys that put me to work, and Bud and Steve, like Steve was much older than me, but like him and his girlfriend, I would like go to his house. I'm like 13 years old, and he's like 24 or something. And my parents didn't think it was weird. It wasn't weird. He was totally cool. And he's like, and Bud's like, would you like to see the Texas Chainsaw Massacre? And he had bootleg videotapes of all these movies. There was a whole underground thing. And he showed me I Drink Your Blood and Texas Chainsaw Massacre on the same day. It was crazy.
Wow, that's cool.
It was crazy. So you said you had a story too?
Well, no, I know what you meant by the whole, like, when you got them and it was brand new and you're pulling them off. Because my dad would actually get them from the company he would work with. We get the movies as soon as they would come in. So he'd bring them home and they were still in the plastic wrap and everything was there. So it was years until I realized, oh, you go to the video store and you get a movie in a plastic case. Like, that was a new experience for me because I was so used to, Gremlins, Ghostbusters, just whatever the new movie was that week. It's like, I had the cover right in my hand, opened the movie, and my dad would just take them back with him to work. And he'd come home with a stack of movies like this every weekend. It's just crazy. But yeah, no, that was cool. But yeah, anyway, and then I knew it led to Batman or something like that was in the story. And then you just like, I got to do this. And I remember that story too. But yeah.
I mean, it was just a strange, like I knew I wanted to make movies from the time I was like 5 years old. And it was always something that I wanted to do. But it wasn't necessarily one thing, but it was the Batman, like the 89 Batman. I was in the summer of 89. I had finished up school at USC.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I was at USC, and what was really interesting was, so my friend Wayne Mogilevsky, who I'd met at USC, we were in like Lake Tahoe or something, and they announced that they were giving away tickets to the world premiere of Tim Burton's Batman in Westwood.
Yep.
And like you had to go there at midnight. And we're like, so of course, we were. Now people are gonna think this is crazy, but in LA, and maybe around, I don't know if other parts of the country are like this, they have movie posters that go into bus stations. So like when you wait for a bus, they have ads. And these posters were huge. They're big. They're much bigger than the movie posters in theaters. They were gigantic. And when the Batman posters first came out, everybody in LA was stealing them.
It wasn't just there either. It was New York and Chicago.
I was one of those people, like me and John Parkan and Wayne Mogilevsky. We were stealing Batman posters and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade posters because it was summer of '89. And you unfortunately, this is terrible to admit, but we'd use a crowbar and pry open the thing, and it would break the screws, so it would break the actual thing. It was not good. And we'd steal the posters because they were awesome. It was that one bat. It was just the bat symbol.
Yeah.
And it didn't even say Batman on it. It was the coolest thing. And the bus station posters were made of like vinyl plastic, kind of. Mm-hmm. They were awesome. So if you could get them, and we were stealing them. So people don't remember, but when Batman was coming out, the anticipation was insane. Like, it was insane for that movie. And I mean, more so than nowadays, Marvel movies have it, but that Batman movie, people were bat crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was nuts. And so we did get our tickets. We went early and we got the tickets, and like, The entire all of Westwood was turned into Bat Central. I mean, it was at the Fox and the Village, the Bruin and the Fox Village that were right across from the street from each other, and they were both showing the film. It was insanity. And my tickets, I sat in Jack Nicholson's row. He was like sitting like 5 seats away from me because the way they did it. I mean, it was out of fucking control. It was so amazing. I think there's a picture of me. I still have it somewhere of my actual ticket. I look like a total twink, but it was crazy. It was a crazy time when that came out, because there was no comic book movies. There had been Donner's Superman in 78, and Superman 2 in 81, which is, can you believe Superman 2 is 40 years old this year? But Batman was the thing. I mean, it was the shit. It dominated the summer of 89, which was a summer of not very good sequels. Ghostbusters 2, License to Kill, Star Trek 5. Not a great summer. But Batman was the shit that summer.
Lethal Weapon 2 came out that year too,
yes, it did. Yes, it did. And that was good.
Oh, there was a lot of movies. There was a lot of movies that came out that year, but you're right, Batman just dominated everything.
No, it was amazing. It was it was incredible. Roberto Suarez says Midnight's Edge's Conan documentaries, as well as the series you did with the director of the last Hellraiser film, were great.
Oh, thank you.
Really good work from Tom and the rest of the gang.
Thank you.
Cardinal Sid says, find out how much your guy wants for the film. You have 2 months to raise the money from your audience. You're not Alec. Raise the dollars, make the film. We want to see your best version of it. Metal. Yes, Cardinal Sid, I'd like to do that, but yeah, I can't. It's a little more difficult.
First up, though, you need to find out how much he wants.
Yeah, I do. That's the thing. Yeah. Jashan Cater says, I don't know anything about the Eternals. Without any spoilers from your knowledge, RMB, what can we expect? Do you think it will be metal? Well, okay, I'm a huge fan of the Eternals, of Kirby's The Eternals. I look back and I can't... well, hang on. I think it's... Wait. Oh no, I can't. I can't reach it.
Oh no,
it's blocked. What's that? Oh, did Con? Con? Did I? Poor Con. He fell down. But I love the Eternals and the Deviants. I think what's going to be interesting about the Eternals is they're going to have to cover, and they said they were going to do this, thousands of years of history on Earth, because they've been here for a long time. What I'm curious about most about the Eternals is how are they going to explain why the Eternals didn't get involved in, say, the Chitauri invasion of New York or Thanos. You know, and what's interesting is, like, I buy into the fact that, okay, we don't know, like, I don't know what's going on in, say, Chicago. You know, we don't know. The whole world, the world continues, so the Eternals, and people are like, well, what about mutants in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Well, maybe they've always been here, we just haven't seen their stories yet. We haven't got around to them, because if you really think about it, we've only seen, like, the day in the life of these characters over a couple of days. It's not like maybe the X-Men showed up during the Battle of New York, but we just didn't see them. You know, because we were following the Avengers. But what if that there were scenes they could go back and, like, when you're introduced to the X-Men, they were at the Battle of New York. Like, Cyclops was using his optic blasts, but we just didn't see it at the time. Because there's only 5 Avengers, or 6 Avengers that we're following around. We're following their story. But what about on the block next door? You know, there were mutants fighting there. We just didn't see them. And I think that's probably what they're going to do. They're going to just introduce these people, because the idea that everybody knows everything that's going on all the time is kind of a strange notion.
I have a feeling they're going to introduce them through this whole WandaVision business, because they had the Hex, and then that's going to get shortened, or that's going to create Hexmen. Yeah. And then that's going to get shorted to X-Men. And the same thing with the Snap, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, but the problem with mutants is they've always been here.
I know.
You know, I mean, you go, and if they've got other people, like if they're going to introduce Kang the Conqueror, and Sabanur was here 2,000 years ago in ancient Egypt, you know, Apocalypse. And there's all kinds of things that they have to introduce that are outside of. I mean, I don't know. I think
The other thing is with the multiverse or the multidimension with the multiverse of madness, maybe they have to combine two universes, and maybe there's another universe where the X-Men have always existed, and that's how they bring them together.
Yeah, I mean that could be true too. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how they do it. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. But I'm a fan of what they're doing. I'm a fan of what they're doing over at Marvel. I've liked it. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've received a lot of this week's episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The woke aspect of it has been something that has been really people have been talking about. What did you think of it?
I haven't watched them yet. Actually, I canceled Disney Plus with firing of Gina Carano, and I haven't looked back. I didn't even finish WandaVision. I know what happened, but I didn't finish it. No, I've heard a lot of bad things about the show. Pretty much, I've heard some good things, but it doesn't seem like there's much interest in it overall.
I know. I'm kind of shocked by that. First of all, look, I think Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan are great.
Yeah,
and I think Anthony Mackie is carrying that show, and so they're great, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And what I've really liked about it is they've really delved into the world post snap, like what happens when half the population shows back up.
Right.
They've done some really interesting stuff, and it's beautifully made. But the second episode was definitely dealing with very topical issues when it comes to the police and race and all that. And I'm like, you know, I had a great letter from a viewer today who wrote from Argentina, and he's a big fan. He goes, look, I don't need your American racial politics is polluting these shows. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand, like, you people are basically, you don't understand that the rest of the world doesn't think the way you do. And
that's why we exist. Midnight's Edge, pretty much, yeah.
And I was fascinated by this. It was a great letter. And I'm like, yeah. And this reader was like, look, you've basically turned this show in one episode into this weird, woke, American, whatever you believe your problems are. And it's no longer universal. It doesn't speak to the rest of the world.
Right.
And I thought
beyond that,
fascinating.
If half the world disappeared and then came back, none of the crap that has been going on in current day politics would have happened. Like, it would have never been on the radar. Like, none of that stuff we would have a million other things to deal with before that.
Well, look. The fact that what we deal with in America is like the ultimate luxury. Exactly. Like, to be woke is the ultimate. Like, wow, we have nothing else. You're so not busy in your life. You're going to be worried about this kind of thing. Like, what about the pragmatic aspects of living life now? Like, really, it's just bizarre.
Well, if half the population disappeared, I think race would, like, a lot of racism and sexism would go away very quickly.
Because
places that did exist, because you have no options at that point. Like, you know,
we just want people back. I don't care who.
Exactly. Like, at that point, you'd just be like, yeah, I mean, wow, we're all in this together. This is fucked up, you know.
Totally.
No, so that's a bad move on that part.
But Jashan, the question is, I do think the Eternals will be metal. I do. If maybe
I want to be with you, but have you seen that image from that calendar? Didn't look awfully metal to me.
I know.
And they've been hiding this movie, man. How often normally?
It is. Well, I'll tell you. I think there's a reason why it's being hidden.
Maybe.
Because Chloe Zhao, who directed Nomadland, directed it. And I don't think they want to get in the way of anything to do with her Oscar chances. Like, she won Best Director at the Golden Globes. The film obviously is up. She's up for she's going to win. I think she's going to win the Academy Award for Best Director for it. Maybe Nomadland will win the Best Picture. They don't want Eternals to step on any of that. They're keeping it very far away. And if she wins, then they get to go, here's her next movie, which is already done. It's a Marvel movie. Our Asian female Academy Award winning director for Nomadland already made a Marvel movie, and it's done. That's what I think's going on.
I think the other part of it is this began development before they owned Fox, and things have changed. I think that they were at one point, because they kind of tried to make the Immortals the new X-Men, and that didn't work out.
The Inhumans.
I think or the Inhumans. That's what I meant. Yeah, and I think they're going to do. They were trying to do the same thing with Eternals, and now I'm wondering if they have to retool it or what is going on with it. But and you're right. Normally, even if it wasn't anything to do with that, they generally don't like to concentrate on anything but the next Marvel thing that's coming down the line. But we're getting there, and that's one of the ones I don't have a lot of hope for, or I don't have high hopes for. I guess I could say I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Eternals. I love Kirby's work, and I can't wait to see it. But it is strange. We've seen nothing. Nothing.
Except for that calendar, which they pulled.
Yeah, which they pulled, and it's like, okay, we've got Black Widow finally coming out. You've got Shang-Chi, which I also can't wait for, because I love...
Another thing we haven't seen anything from either.
No, and that was supposed to come out in July.
Yeah.
It's April. It's crazy. We haven't seen anything from Shang-Chi, and I'm a huge Shang-Chi fan. I love Doug Mensch, who wrote Moon Knight. Before he wrote Moon Knight, which I love, he wrote Shang-Chi, and Paul Gulacy, one of my favorite artists from back in the day, used to draw it. I love Master of Kung Fu. I loved it. I loved their work. So the character, and Tony Leung is one of my favorite actors. And if he's playing the real Mandarin, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I want to see that shit. And Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Eternals, and Spider-Man 4. Or Spider-Man Far From Home. Or No Way Home. Spider-Man 3. There's 4 Marvel movies coming out this year. Now they've been combined or pushed to the last 6 months of 2021. Yeah. July, September, November, and December. That's insane that we're getting 4. And are they all going to come out? And we've seen nothing from Eternals, nothing from Shang-Chi. It's so weird. It's honestly, I understand, but for Eternals, I'm like, they're waiting. They don't want to step on Chloe Zhao's chances. I get that. That's what I think's going on. But
that's possible.
Yeah, I do think that's what that is, because there would be nothing better for that. How I'm a fan of Kevin Feige, Louis D'Esposito, and Victoria Alonso. I'm a huge fan of theirs because they control everything. Kevin Feige worked on 13 Marvel movies, for better or worse, before the MCU. He worked on Ghost Rider and Daredevil and Elektra and all the shit that worked. Hulk. He worked on all that stuff, and X-Men and Spider-Man. And he saw what worked and what didn't. And they're totally, all 3 of them are totally involved with every aspect of production. And you don't get that from a lot of people. And
no, I trust him, but yeah. I wonder if they're going to push him off till next year. Do you think that might be the case?
I don't think they can. How much more time? I don't know. It's so weird. I can't. What I don't get is, if a studio spends $150 million to $200 million on a movie, they're expecting to make $800 million to $1 billion worldwide. That's how the economics are working now. And right now, the studios are like going into an environment where the movie theaters are opening, but not at full capacity. Yeah. So there's no way, when they made these movies, they made them with the expectation, all their lenders and the people that gave them money to make the movies knew that, okay, well, these movies were expected to make this much. There's no way they can. So what do? You have a product You have to make a certain amount of money. And if you don't, it's a loss. And even if Black Widow made $400 million worldwide, that's a loss. I mean, Marvel movies now, after Captain Marvel making $1 billion, if Captain Marvel can make $1 billion and you have another female lead like Black Widow who's long overdue for her movie, if that movie doesn't make $1 billion, which it can't now in the global marketplace because of COVID, it's a failure. And the global box office is still the litmus test of what the value of a movie is. So if you can't release a film where it makes $1 billion and it can only make an anemic, like Tenet. Tenet is a disaster, which no one is talking about. It was a $200 million movie that made what? What did it make? 300 and something million
Something
worldwide?
like that altogether, yeah.
Total disaster. It is a total disaster. That was supposed to be $1 billion movie. They released it. It is a disaster, and no one's talking about that. But it ain't good.
Well, you have a few aspects to this. First of all, the bailouts, and then now studios are like, "Oh, we've got all this money we've been sitting on. We didn't realize for advertising and all these other things that they've been putting away." So there's that aspect. But then, as far as the other stuff, I think they can sit and wait on a lot of this stuff. There was a year when they didn't film anything. They didn't produce anything. So that's where they're going to fill in a lot of these gaps with all this other stuff. So that's where I'm curious if, they might just push Shang-Chi and Eternals off till next year because they're going to need that extra time. Because I think Thor just started filming, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, I think, should be pretty soon. Soon as James is done with
Doctor Strange 2 is filming.
Is that filming already?
Yeah, they're in London filming.
And I know Spider-Man was, but
Spider-Man's almost done.
Yep.
And Thor is filming.
Now, Spider-Man will probably come out this year, but that's because that's Sony.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the other the other aspect of this is that Black Widow is going to be the first major movie that Disney's releasing in that $30 deal. Like the other movies, Mulan, that was going to flop. We all knew that.
Yeah.
Soul was not like a known property. It's Pixar, but no, it doesn't have anything attached to it. This is the first litmus test. Is like if Black Widow can actually be successful for them at this $30, that's where they're going to make their money. Because they've already given away
it all goes to them. They don't have to share revenue. And if they ended up making, like if Disney made, say, $300 million off this, that would be a win. Yeah,
you're basically paying for a theater ticket and the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
is what you're paying for with that $30 if you stop and think about it.
Yeah,
and that's where people have like, well, how can they make money on this? It's like, look, you got to look at it this way. You and I buy movies all the time, but the average person out there either doesn't even have a DVD collection anymore, or buys, if they're lucky, 1 or 2 movies a year, right? So if you look at it from the aspect, if you can get somebody to sign up for HBO Max, see
the Wong Kar-wai collection. This is one of my most eagerly. I'm showing it later today. Criterion did me right on this. Let me just.
There you go. Criterion always does a great job. But no, like I think that if you stop and think about it, if you're paying $15 a month for HBO Max, and all you really watch is whatever the new movie is, like Wonder Woman or Justice League or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the same. They're getting out of you the money they wouldn't have gotten out of you in the first place for that Blu-ray or DVD that they brought out that week or that month.
Yeah.
And that's where they're making their money. And they've already told us the magic number. They need about 200 million subscribers. And at 200 million subscribers, that gives them a $10 to $12 billion operating cost. And that means, so above that, they're all making money. So that means no matter what they produce at that point, it's all money in the bank. And that's where people, I don't think, are understanding why they want to jump to the streaming services besides the control. They want to control the flow of home media. And because trust me, you and I both know if they could kill Blu-ray and DVD tomorrow, they would. But they can't afford it.
And look, Jason Kilar at Warner Brothers, he thinks that every Blu-ray sold is a subscription lost for HBO Max.
And that's not the way Warner Brothers used to be, and you know that for a fact.
No,
too.
and look, Warner Premiere, my beloved Warner Premiere, they're done. They have stuff coming out for the year, and they're done. And what I find that's so short-sighted, here's the problem that I see, the way I see it. The studios, the libraries, and actually here, okay. The studios have a back catalog of titles that go back almost like Warner Brothers, almost 100 years.
100 years.
But the problem is most modern viewers are not interested in anything beyond their own lifetimes, their own lifespan. So as everyone gets older and we all age out and die, and the modern kids today, they watch YouTube more than they watch old movies, so they have less and less value monetarily. Yeah. So what is the incentive to go back and make movies in rescan them in HD, black and white films from the 40s? Why do it? Even though Warner Brothers had some of the great gangster movies of all time, why do that? And my whole thing is that the historical legacy, if you have them on your streaming service, in 100 years, people are still going to watch. They're still going to delve into these films at some point. People are going to go back and look. It's our cultural legacy. And yet, if you look at the analytics of the last, say, I don't know, month, how many people go back and watch movies that are more than 20 years old?
Not many.
No, and how 40 years old? 60 years old. And
absolutely. And you're right.
How do you justify the expense of going back and scanning the negative? These old movies essentially, unfortunately, are worth nothing. It's our cultural legacy. I think human history, we have to think other than just what money represents, but it comes down to operating costs and things like, how can a corporation justify, like, why are we spending millions of dollars to scan movies? I've got the analytics here. We spent we spent $150,000 restoring this film, and it was watched 8 times last year.
Yeah.
How do you justify that? And I'm like, even I would have to say, I understand, but the thinking should be like, no, this is the cultural legacy.
They need to be treated like paintings and sculptures and stuff.
And you need somebody, all of these streaming services should have people curating, like they should do a weekly show. Netflix should do a weekly show. Here's what's playing, and delving into the history. Do like an Entertainment Tonight of their own streaming service and say, this week, this film from 1946
like Turner
is debuting. Yes, exactly. And make your audience value your content. Make your audience, and they're not doing it.
And that's what's sad about Warner Brothers, is I know you know this, is like they were one of the last ones who actually really seemed to give a shit. Like they would even, I don't even know if you told me this or if it was Bill or somebody else, but it could even have been one of my guys back in the day, but they basically told me like they would pick so many movies a month that they could bring out. Yeah. And they would always do 1 or 2 that they knew would make all the money, but then they would use those 1 or 2 titles to amortize the cost of the other smaller ones that weren't going to make a lot of money. And that's how Warner just kicked ass when it came to DVD, because they made sure everything got out there. Nothing was treated any less than the other thing. But like, for every great set we'd get, like Citizen Kane or Wizard of Oz or some newer film, that would amortize the cost of some lesser known film, like you were bringing up, like, that they maybe acquired from Turner or that Warner had in the vaults.
Yep.
And there's a lot of stuff that's just getting completely lost or destroyed. And I mean, a great example, you brought up Christopher Lee earlier. I just finally finished up my Christopher Lee Dracula Hammer series on Blu-ray.
Nice.
And I'm watching the shout version of Prince of Darkness. You have 2 problems with that. The UK scan looks like a cartoon because they have put so much crap over it to make it looks horrible. The US scan is from an interpositive that is so dark and gritty and crappy. So you got a balance between the two. It's like, okay, that's the problem we have here is we've got, and like you said, it'd be great to get a great 4K scan of Star Wars. Well, there's people who are doing that, but it needs to go to that next level. We need to get our hands on the negatives. There's movies they've lost the negatives to.
I know.
They don't know where they're at. Don't know where they're at.
That's what I mean. My own movie, Free Enterprise. I mean, theoretically, are all the stems and all the things
I hope they
I'm
are.
the only person. I was the editor, the post supervisor. I'm the only person that's ever touched all that stuff. And I'm like, I know that movie like the back of my hand. But
Yeah.
does it exist? Can I go in there and is there negative that I want to get? And can I do what I want to do with it?
Did you have like a multi-track sound? I think the DVD you did was 5.1,
Yeah, it's
wasn't it?
5.1. But
Yeah,
I
so
look.
you should have a
I
yeah.
was never happy with like
No.
I was never allowed to. It wasn't that I was allowed that there were other people, that I couldn't now I know so much more about post production and editorial. I can make it so much better than it is. I mean,
Right.
even if you look at the scenes of Free Enterprise on my channel and compare them, I've changed every edit. Now you wouldn't know it if you're a fan of the movie, but it feels better. There's only one scene that it doesn't, but for the most part, it feels because it was shoddy the way I did it. But it just feels better if you watch the scene where they meet Shatner in the bookstore. To me, if you watch the original, if you know Free Enterprise, and then you watch my recut scene, I think my recut scene works infinitely better. But it's all very, very subtle. By the way, I am so behind. People have been firing in.
Let's get some super chats then, or
Cardinal,
whatever you want to call
Cardinal Sin says, we want to see the new Free Enterprise. It's metal. Yes, you will. I want you to as well. Richard K. sends in a super chat and says, with Disney doing live-action remakes like Mulan, Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, could we get a live-action Incredibles movie? You know what? I would love to see a live-action, but I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Would they ever do that?
That'd be interesting to see if I don't know if Pixar would ever go for that. Not that they'd have a choice.
Because it would compete directly with Marvel. I mean, if they're going to do
maybe in like 20, 30 years, maybe.
Yeah. That's a good question. I mean, that's a great idea.
I don't know, though.
Cardinal Sin says, good Pesach, Laser Bob. You know what they did to Laser Bob? That's what I used to be called for the Silver Platters, the Laserdisc company I worked for.
Oh, cool.
Jashan Cater goes on to say, personal favorite Lord of the Rings film. Do you have one, Tom?
Two Towers.
You know what? I vacillate between Two Towers and Fellowship. But Two Towers, I love Two Towers.
Two Towers has got Gollum and Smeagol, though.
I know.
That whole bit.
That whole scene.
Yeah. Nobody likes you.
So good. Mr. Grant Gregory sends in a super chat and says, Steve Pitcher was a great guy, R.I.P. Okay. Did Steve pass away? Like, I haven't talked to Steve Pitcher. He played a huge part of my life when I was when I was 13 to, well, when I went to college to Evergreen. So for 5 years, but after that, I never caught up with him. We saw each other at the film festival but as a kid, so Mr. Grant Gregory says Steve Pitcher was a great guy, R.I.P. Did you know him? Like, I would love to know more about what happened to him. I mean, we weren't friends anymore. It was a very strange thing.
Sorry to hear that.
I know. I'm very sorry to hear that too. Jashan Kate, it's weird. Midnight Metal stream. I'm finding out about people that might have passed away that were really important to me when I was 13 years old. That's so strange. Jashan Cater sends in another super chat and says, there are conversations about your last meal on Earth. RMB, what is your last film on this planet? Before everything ends, what are you gonna watch? What a great question, Tom. You know what? The world's gonna end in like 4 hours or 5 hours, so you can watch any film ever. What movie do you watch? That's a great question.
Jaws.
You know what? Okay, you watch Jaws. I'm going to go. People are going to say I'm insane. I'm going to watch Amelie. Amelie is one of my favorite movies. People are like, to me, my entire philosophy of life about how wondrous even the smallest things can be, Amelie never ceases. It's either going to be Amelie or Wings of Desire. those are the two movies I would watch. Hopefully I can watch them both before the world ends.
Well, if you had 4 hours and you could pick like two movies, gosh.
I mean, Godfather's 3 hours. I might watch that.
I know The Godfather is a good
But the thing about Jaws is Jaws is like a perfect movie.
It is. It's comfort food to me. So it's like, yeah.
But it's also Jaws works as a great adventure film, but it also works as a great character study about Sheriff Brody.
Yep.
You know, and it's so Jaws is so good. It's so good. Oh,
it's my favorite movie of all time. I mean,
Oh.
you could say what you will about the shark, but it's still working.
No, I don't understand. Like I look at Jaws, I see it as being flawless. I mean, to me, the shark that's the shark. That's the way it looks. Yep. You know, it looks that way. Swim, Charlie, swim faster, Charlie. You know, I mean,
not only that, it's one of those rare instances where I'll say the movie is better than the book. Because the book has all this excess crap.
It rambles around. I'm with you 100%. Matt Hooper's having an affair with Brody's wife. Like,
Get
what?
rid of it.
No.
Get rid of it.
No.
You don't need all this mob bullshit. Get rid of it.
the two books I think are the movies, Jaws and A Clockwork Orange, are both better than the books.
I agree.
Better than the books.
Clockwork Orange is so close in some ways too. That's the other.
It is. No, it totally is.
Yeah. And that's one of my other favorite all-time movies. Well, there you go. There's my two: Clockwork Orange and Jaws. I'll watch.
Yeah, me, it's Godfather and Clockwork Orange. Clockwork Orange is, it was my favorite movie for a long time. And it's coming out on 4K this year. Coming out on 4K.
Did you see Indiana Jones is coming too?
I know in June. I pre-ordered that shit.
I pre-ordered that too, and the price just went down too, which is great.
Yeah.
No, The Godfather is a great film. One of my favorite posters I have is the entire script of The Godfather, but if you stand back, it's the picture of the Godfather. It's one of those words.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, if you read it, though, it's every single line from the script. It starts with, I believe in America. It's just like the whole thing's there, like, to the very end. It's really cool.
It's the best.
That's awesome.
It's so good.
It's an awesome poster. I love The Godfather, though. That's another one. Goodfellas is another perfect film, too.
Yeah. I mean, to me, Raiders and Jaws are perfect movies.
Jaws, yeah.
Alien is a perfect movie. Jaws is Jaws and Raiders, but I think Alien is a perfect film.
I love Superman the movie too, even though the ending is still a little.
No, it's Superman the movie. Tonally it shifts, but it's still. I mean, it's an amazing. There's the first 30 minutes of Superman the movie is some of the greatest filmmaking of all time in any movie.
I just love the movie.
Smallville is so good. I love it so much.
Even turning back the world or going back in time, however you want to look at it, I still even accept that.
Well, you know what I've always thought? I'm like, that's just a visual metaphor. Like he's traveling through time. The world isn't literally spinning. And everyone who says it now, I'm like, wait, are you guys missing? No, Superman is traveling through time the same way that the Flash would if he's on the cosmic treadmill. Yeah. And the reason that it shows the world going backwards is that that's their representation of how Superman is going back through time. The world isn't literally being and people always, I'm like, you're out of your minds. He's gone back through time. That's what Superman has done. He's flying so fast that's just the way they visually represented that.
Exactly. And they did a better job actually in the Donner cut, which was what it was meant for, as you know.
Right, yeah, of course. I mean,
by showing the toothpaste going back in the tube and all, the thing they did, and that I think worked better. But no, when I was a kid, even till now, the way I saw it was Superman was going back in time, and then so at one point there was two Supermen. One was doing the other thing, and the other one was saving Lois, because that's what Lex said. You can't be in both places at once, so he's got to pick one. Well, if in this case, since he went back in time, he can be. Right.
Superman. Yep. Yeah. Totally.
Richard, that's how it works for me.
Absolutely, 100%. Richard K says, Rob, have you ever watched Doctor Who? Who hasn't? Come on, I started watching. The first Doctor Who I watched was Tom Baker. That was my first Doctor Who, and that was back.
Old school.
Yeah, that's old school. Tom Baker was the fourth Doctor. But I like Doctor Who, and I'm a huge fan of the Russell Davies era. and this and I have a man crush on Captain Jack Harkness, and I think one of the greatest 5 hours of science fiction television ever is the third season of Torchwood, Children of Earth. I know it's not Doctor Who; it's a Doctor Who spinoff, but I like Doctor Who. But it's it's not my jam as much as say Star Trek is, but I like it. The Squish Show, by the way, the Squish Show made a very funny film for my film festival. Rob's seen the Star Wars franchise burn off the shoulder of Orion and witness Star Trek fall at the Tannhauser Gates. All these nerd things are like tears in the rain. Yes, you're right. You are right. We Star Wars and Star Trek. I don't get it. How do you fuck them up? Well, we saw. Saberwolf says Rob and Tom Supernatural Showdown, Texas Chainsaw Massacre versus Jason. Who wins in a one-on-one fight? Well, you mean Leatherface. Jason's got to win because he's supernaturally powered.
Exactly.
Leatherface is just a guy.
Yeah, unless you're talking about Jason before he could do anything.
Yeah, Jason's supernaturally, he's supercharged. Jason's been to space. Leatherface is not. And on my first screen credit was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
It's true.
So.
It's very true.
Jason. By the way, if you have to go at any time,
No, man, I might have to use the restroom here in a moment, but other than that, I got a dog that might want to go out. But.
Ash Chowhan says, there's that scene in Endgame when Hulk goes to visit the Ancient One for the Time Stone. She's up on the rooftop using her magic to deflect and destroy several nearby Chitauri. I'm sure true. Mutants and others have fought in similar, less grandiose ways. I agree. I think that they all they have to do is show scenes from Avengers, and you've got the X-Men fighting, and we haven't met them yet. By the way, Mexican Iron Man is here. Hello, sir.
Mike.
Good to see you. How are you? Mexican Iron Man says, I can officially attest that the Falcon would have gotten his loan approved. Right now, the SBA and Treasury are giving everyone money, and there's even a page now on the SBA app where you can disclose your diversity. True story. Wow.
There you go.
But you know what? In the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they just had the blip. No one lived through a pandemic, right? No, it's crazy. Interesting. Is that true? Because I want to go explain.
Anything there'd be an excess of resources when it comes to that kind of a thing.
I know, right? I want to go explain my diversity. I want to go use that app and figure out, like, hey, I'm,
right?
I got to figure out something. My diversity's got to be worth something.
Well, you're Jewish, aren't you? Technically,
right? I was adopted. Raised. But? I know. I can't get a 23andMe test that says I'm a Jew. It's too bad. I know. Eric O'Sullivan sends in a super chat and says, I want to say in Dune, Leto to the Golden Path included woke in a way. In God Emperor, the Empire is woke, yet that too is something to get over and back to humanity improving through challenges. Cheers. Well, Eric, I tend to agree with you. We were doing just fine. Like, humanity was evolving naturally because bad ideas will be weeded out. What's going on now is this weird victim mentality where everybody's blaming other people for their problems. I mean, you know what? If a meteor, an extinction event, happens on the planet, like in Greenland, if that happens, no one cares what your politics are. You either get to high ground or you die. And I think that we have to start thinking about life in that way. We have to start being more pragmatic. Everybody's mad about whatever. Human beings are terrible, horrible, shitty people. We have been to everyone for thousands of years, but we're getting better. We're getting better. Naturally, we're getting better. And
a lot of this is manufactured. Yeah,
it's I think so, but I think you're right though. Improving humanity through challenges is the best way to go. It's the best way to go. We overcome adversity and we do it together. That's the best way. Then you're like, well, we got through that. Thanks, man. well done. I'm glad you were here. Richard K sends, who do you think the villain in the Spider-Man movie No Way Home is going to be? I'm hoping it's Chameleon, Scorpion, Rhino, or Green Goblin. That's a really good question. What do you think, Tom?
Well, we already know it's at least going to be Doc Ock for one. And
Electro.
And who else have they said is going to come back so far? I don't know.
I don't.
But they might introduce a third new character. Who knows? Yeah, it's a good question. Craven is somebody that's been tossed about quite a bit.
Yeah.
But somebody who will fit into this multiverse business.
I honestly don't. I have no sense of it either. And again, we should be seeing a trailer for this stuff. I mean, you've got Black Widow has been pushed to July. So I don't know if we're going to see anything. Loki is in June.
Yep.
You know, so it's crazy. We got Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then a month, and then we got Loki, and then we got What If.
Yep.
And then we got Black Widow, and then Shang-Chi, and it's I think we're going to be getting a plethora of things. I don't know what they're all going to be. I don't have a couple.
We also got Morbius coming out too. We forgot about that.
Morbius and Venom. There will be Carnage. Venom.
And I think that got pushed till next year. But yeah, that is still coming.
It's crazy. Nuts. I don't know. So Richard K, I don't know. Temple Gao sends in a super chat and says, Rob and Tom, long fan and viewer to you both. Longtime fan and viewer to you both, I guess. The two of you don't do enough solo stuff, propping up other channels. You're both awesome commentators. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you do stuff on your own anymore, or just Midnight's Edge?
I am not one who likes to ride my bike on my own. Unless I have something to go to, because I was trained as a DJ on air radio. So, like, I'm used to being able to just come in and give you a few seconds of something and then, then I can think about it for a bit. So, actually, this afternoon was the first time I've done a few, but I actually went a good 20, 30 minutes without anybody else on the stream and cutting away from anything. And yeah, so it's like, I'm getting there. I'm getting my feel for it. I can't do it like you, though. You can sit there and do it like a master, though. So,
I don't know about that, but I can't even believe it. I didn't know I had a penchant for talking to a green light, which is what I'm doing right now.
Well, it helps that you have a lot to go on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can wax rhapsodic about so many different things, but it's still very strange. Like, even right now, I can see you. I'm looking at your face, so that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm like talking to somebody. It's cool.
Well, this is probably one of the most one-on-one conversations we've ever had.
We've never talked. This is great. I mean, it's great. I'm like, we should do this not online, just hang out. I should call you on the phone like, Tom, what's up, bro?
No, I totally
have a conversation. Yeah. We should do that.
Be like, dude, you got to tell me about this, and then stuff I wouldn't ask you about on the air.
Oh no, totally. Although I would answer any questions.
I know you would.
I would totally.
I know I wouldn't want to put you in a weird position on the air for certain things, but yeah.
I mean, this is fucking metal tonight.
It is fucking metal. That is
Saturday. And what time? Where are you? Are you Central Time Zone?
Yeah, so it's almost 5 in the morning.
Oh, 5 in the morning. I'm like, my God.
You were talking about hanging out with Christopher Lee for fucking 4 hours, man. What is more metal
5
than
hours.
that?
It was fucking
5 hours.
Dude, he was talking about killing dudes in World War II. It was the most metal shit ever. So metal.
That's my point exactly. He's fucking Dracula. I mean, come on.
Cardinal Sin says Shang-Chi is totally metal. Read it all the time. Yeah, it is metal. It is metal. Echo Base Networks. It's great. It's great. The comic's great. What's really cool, weird, Marvel in the 70s licensed literary characters like Conan being one, but they also licensed like Fu Manchu, who's now like a racist villain. But Fu Manchu was Shang-Chi's father in the comics, and they retconned that. And now I think the way they're going to do it is Tony Leung, my man, one of my favorite actors, is now going to be the Mandarin's father, and he's going to be the villain, but he's not going to be Fu Manchu. He'll be the real Mandarin, not like this Mandarin, the fake Mandarin,
which I actually thought was kind of funny, but I know it upsets a lot of people.
I love it. And by the way, this Hot Toys figure is one of my favorites. It comes with a chair and it's a great face.
Oh, it's got a chair.
Oh man, it's got a chair. Any action figure with a chair, I know it's Echo Base Network says check your DM and play from 56 to 232. It's metal and funny. I will have to do that later because if I play it on the stream, I might get demonetized again. Echo Base Network also goes on to say, who is more metal, Tom? Jabba the Hutt or Pizza the Hutt?
Pizza the Hutt.
I think so too. Oh man, this is tough. Jason666 King sends in a super chat and says, The Ninth Gate versus The Devil's Advocate, which is a better 666 movie? I have the 666 stream coming up. You know what? Everyone knows, like, Swack Props, my man Cal, made me this. The Nine Gates, the book from The Ninth Gate. He made this. He's an incredible artist. He makes paper, anything like books. This is one of the most insane things I own. It even came with this is the cloth that Johnny Depp had the book wrapped in the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so he sent it all. It's incredible. So I have to say, as much as I love The Ninth Gate, The Devil's Advocate is the better 666 movie because Al Pacino plays Satan.
I was just going to say, since we just hung out with Taylor, I got to go with Devil's Advocate.
Yeah, I mean, I love The Devil's Advocate. I love that movie. It's so great. You get Connie Nielsen full frontal. I mean, my God.
Well, and I didn't even know it that the Blu-ray has an extended cut on there.
Mm-hmm.
That one I sent it to you, and it's like I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yep.
Didn't even know it.
Yep. So I'm going as much as I love Ninth Gate, I'm going with Devil's Advocate. Richard K sends in a super chat and says, speaking of older movies, I'm 27 years old. I just watched Errol Flynn's Robin Hood on Blu-ray, and I love it. It's so metal. It is metal. Errol Flynn is metal. That guy, can you imagine what it was like to be in Hollywood in the 20s? That guy probably got crazy laid. I mean, it must have been crazy back then. But I love Errol Flynn. I love that's one of the great movies of all time. The original Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. It's fucking incredible. Love it. And you should love it. Tim Possible says, Tom, can you play your track, bruh?
Oh, no. I don't think that Rob wants to sit here and listen to that for 3 minutes.
What is that? Is that like Az's song?
I did kind of write a song. Well, I've actually I've written many songs, but I've been working on an album, and one of the tracks got away from me, and it already got released. And I put it out on iTunes and everything already, but you can check it out on Midnight's Edge After Dark.
All right.
I don't want to waste 4 minutes of your time here because it is.
All right. Okay.
If you want to, that's up to you.
We can put a link in the live chat so people can,
I could send you that. How's that sound?
Send me that. I'll put it in there.
Because I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want.
So Tim, thank you for that. Oh, it's all right. Jishan Cater sends in a super chat and says, Amelie and Jaws. I love you both so much. I didn't expect this. Respectful choices. Well, There you go. Magic K says Wonder Woman versus Red Sonja. Who wins? I got to go with Wonder Woman on that. I mean, she does have the power of the gods, after all. Red Sonja's just a chick. Although I love Red Sonja.
Yeah, we got to go. I'm going to have to go with with Wonder Woman too over Red Sonja.
I know. And I like Red Sonja, but I got to go with Wonder Woman. I mean, sends in a super chat and says, hi. Turner Classic Movies preserves films, promotes movies, and sells DVDs. They don't deserve the censure they've received for providing fair intros of unaltered movies that are otherwise neglected. That's interesting. Okay, so they're I would assume what you're referring to is like when they show Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind,
and they put it in historical context. Here's what I object to about this. We, as a society, should be smart enough to know that the world changes from year to year, decade to decade, century to century. And we should be smart enough to understand when we watch a movie like Gone with the Wind that's based on Margaret Mitchell's book, who wrote it at a certain time about a certain place, that we we're smart enough to not need somebody to tell us these things. That's my own objection. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Turner Classic Movies, but this idea that if you're going to talk about the antebellum South, that you need to have explanation. Like, I'm smart, Tom, you're smart, our viewers are smart. Why is it that somebody tells us or believes they have to tell us, in case you didn't know? And I, on one hand, I would say, unfortunately, a lot of people are fucking stupid because they haven't. I mean, they are, and so I get it.
Yeah.
I get why they have to do it. But for me personally, I find it offensive. I know why they have to do it, but who are these people that think that it's their job to explain to you how do they know you don't know? Like, I was highly educated. I understand where we're coming from there. There are now people that look at the characters in Gone with the Wind and they're like, well, here's somebody who's a slave and she seems to be leading a good life. Look, slavery was horrifically bad. It's going on even today on this planet. Human beings are enslaved. It's awful. But that doesn't mean that on a day-to-day basis there weren't certain people that were, they weren't always being whipped and horribly mutilated every single day. There's somebody that, hey, they worked in the house. And do I think that I need to have this explained to me? No. As an astute viewer, I know that slavery is fucking horrible. But it went on in the United States for 400 years. The United States hasn't even been the United States for 250 years, but slavery was here before we. It was terrible. It was awful.
It was brought over. Yeah.
But if I'm watching a movie about the antebellum South, I know those people were kind of douchebags ultimately because they wanted to secede from America because they liked slavery. And so I understand that. So, but when I'm watching a movie from their perspective, shouldn't you understand, like, oh, this film was written from the South's perspective. So, I get it. But I can't stand the fact that we're being infantilized by everybody. Everyone's like, well, we need to make sure that you people understand what's going on. I'm like, I'm an adult. I went to college. I studied history. I get it. You don't have to tell me that the vision of the South that's presented in Margaret Mitchell's Gone with the Wind it's skewed from her perspective. I get that. I mean, but why does somebody? I feel like my intellect and my human consciousness is violated if somebody feels the need to give me a disclaimer before I watch a movie. I'm not stupid.
I agree.
I'm not stupid.
And it gives the movie a stigma.
Yeah.
And not only that, even if you don't know it, it's either your job as a parent or a teacher to inform the individual who you're watching it with what is going on here, what they're about to see. And not only that, Gone with the Wind in and of itself isn't really about the slavery aspect. It's more about this woman and, the romanticized, parts of her life. I mean, it'd be a little different if we were sitting there watching 12 Years a Slave.
Right.
I would expect that to be accurate. I would expect that to be from the point of view, or at least, shining a light on this particular thing. But you're right. Like even movies like Django Unchained, I know they had a lot of issues with, and it's like, why? Because they're actually depicting things more like they actually were and not the way you think they should be.
Right.
I mean, that's the other side of it too, is, so there's a lot of different parts to this. And then you even go into the things like, we brought up on toxic femininity, the fact that, the film Song of the South is still taboo. And it's like, well, then it'll never not be taboo. But they are neglecting the fact that that movie isn't so much, it's got racist elements to it, but it's not because they are set out to make a racist film.
Right,
In
exactly.
fact, if anything, Disney was being more progressive because who else was going to put those stories out at that time?
Well, that's something else that I, when I was working for a company called Curdy Pellerin, that we did all the Disney, we did the Toy Story box set and Tron and all that. And we were always talking about Song of the South because black audiences like
Right.
Song of the South. Song of the South was re-released theatrically in the 80s, in 86. And it was a perennial favorite for 40 years. Disney would re-release it. I certainly saw it when I was a kid. And we were talking about how do you release it? And we were thinking about getting a lot of notable black personalities, whether they were in like Oprah Winfrey or Herbie Hancock, if you're a jazz fan, or talking to a bunch of people. What did you think of this film? Like growing up, what did it mean to you?
Right.
And a lot of people had opinions, and they wanted to participate. And then Disney's like, no, we're not going to release it. I mean, I have the Stinky Tuna Blu-ray of it. It's pretty great.
Yeah,
but
there's the 35 millimeter print out there of it. But
yeah,
no, and that's what I think is a problem, because like that's what Lorena's like. Yeah, my great grandmother used to tell us those stories, and that's the only way some of those stories are probably preserved to this day. Because good luck trying to find a book of them. I mean, they did do books and other things, but chances are your local library threw them out a long time ago for the same specific reasons.
That movie won 2 Academy Awards.
Exactly. Well, and again, it's more about preserving the idea that these stories were told and they were passed down from generation to generation, but they no longer are being told. That's the thing.
Right.
And for various reasons, but that doesn't mean they don't need to be preserved. And I'm sure a lot of those individuals you would have talked to would have said that, especially like I know Whoopi Goldberg probably would have felt that way.
Yeah.
Especially considering what she says about like Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and all those cartoons growing up. You know, she's like, to delete them would pretend like they'd never existed. And that's exactly what Disney's trying to do, basically.
Well, what I don't understand is it also, again, the infantilization of all of us. I mean, human beings are bad. We've done horrible shit. And the fact is, we should recognize this, and we've been on an evolutionary course to become better. And the idea that we want to get rid of things in the past that somehow are problematic, like, are we not mature enough to look at something from 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 years ago or 100 years ago and go, you know what, we're better now, but this exists. This is where we were then. And we've moved to where we are now. I think it is dangerous, and it is detrimental to our society that we assume. And by the way, people are proving that they want safe spaces and all this. Oh my God, I can't deal with a thought that somehow doesn't agree with me. Like, you know, they had something bad fish for dinner or something, and I'm like, why do you expect the world to adhere to... Why do you think the world around you should be perfect all the time? Like, the world's a tough, horrible place. And you are getting close to your death every time a second clicks by. And you're worried about whether you have a safe space or if somebody's going to speak that might offend you. I'm like, you know what? You should revel being offended. Revel in being offended, because that's how you learn about yourself. You know, if you have to listen to somebody say something that you don't agree with, well, then that person's rhetoric makes you think about what you do believe, and you have to rise up and figure out, well, if I believe something different, I have to be able to articulate it and speak to that person or speak out against that person. But nowadays, everyone, if it makes me uncomfortable, it shouldn't be here. We shouldn't let them speak on our campus. When did this happen? When did the tough choices suddenly become something that you don't want to step up and deal with? Like, an idea is just an idea. And if it's a bad idea, you put it in the court of public opinion and you debate it loud and clear publicly. You don't just go, oh, that guy, I don't like that guy, we're not going to let him speak on our campus. And yet we've got a whole group, a whole generation of people that only want to hear something that only they can, like, I don't want to hear something that makes me feel bad. I only want to hear things that make me feel good. I'm like, fuck you, man. You know, you should watch Thriller, A Cruel Picture, and tell me, what do you think of that movie? Don't watch They Call Her One Eye, the American version. Get the Swedish version. Watch that movie. Tell me what you think of that. I mean, I feel like there's like 20 movies I want to show every kid. They're going to be like, holy shit, these are so horrible. How did this thing get made? This got made fucking 45 years ago. And it came out, in the world that you exist in. This movie already exists. Blood-sucking freaks. Have you seen that? Watch that. That movie was made 40 years ago, 45 years ago too. Where were you? You're complaining. You're 20 years old and you're fighting on Twitter. These things, do you know that all this horrible shit happened for the last 10,000 years? And you're bitching on Twitter about, I feel offended. I fucking hate that shit.
Oh, I know. It's getting ridiculous.
Anyway, sorry, I'm ranting.
No, you're fine, but you do have some donations you might want to get.
Yes.
I'm gonna go off camera for just a few minutes, but I am still here. I'm just dealing with a few things real quick.
All right, hang on. One more. Oh, well, you're gone.
I'm here.
Let me just say, Tim Possible said, for Tom, I love your rap.
Well, that was another reason. It's more of a rap song, so it's not very metal.
Yeah, well, come on, man. Walk This Way, Run DMC made metal and rap synonymous. And what about Ice-T's band? Body Count.
Body Count.
That was metal. Rap and metal.
That's true.
Temple Gal says Empire Strikes Back because it's fucking metal. I saw it 26 times in the theater at the UA 150 on 6th and Blanchard, downtown Seattle, as you know. Jashan Cater says, one power. Which one would you choose? Any power? I'd want to fly. If I could fly, that'd be great. And if I could fly at ultra speeds, like supersonic speeds, so I could travel around the world in a couple hours, that'd be dope. Richard K says, Conan the Barbarian versus Kull the Conqueror. Who wins? I gotta go with Conan. Conan every time. Yeah, you go with Conan too?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Tom says Conan, I say Conan. James Lockman sends in, very nice super chat. Thank you for that, James. As a kid from the 70s and 80s, I used to always buy Starlog and Fangoria magazines. Dude, I subscribed. I loved all the behind the scenes and special effects. Did you guys read these? Bruh. Who was on the cover of Fangoria 1?
Godzilla, wasn't it?
Yes! Godzilla, Tom. You are the man. Godzilla was on the cover of... Yeah. And who was on the cover of Fangoria 6?
When did it come out again? 70.
R2D2 and C3PO.
Okay.
Fangoria number 4.
Starlog come along though.
Starlog came out in 76.
Okay. Yeah. I couldn't remember which one came first.
Fangoria 4, I think it's 4. Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Spock was on the cover. They hadn't figured out what they were. Starlog and Fangoria were so important to me. So
that's where Starlog came along. That one was more of the sci-fi one then.
Yeah, I mean, I got to show you. Here it is. Okay.
I still have a few, but
I have not done this on a live stream. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to show you something that is fucking horrible, but I'm going to do it anyway. Let's see. I have to find it. I don't know. I have to find it. Okay.
Oh, Cinefex. I got some of those.
Okay. So, as we know, this is Cinefex number 1.
Yeah.
From 1980. My copy, I bought it off the rack 41 years ago. Star Trek: The Motion Picture and Alien.
Nice.
This is my I bought this 41 years ago. This year, they announced last month that Cinefex will be published no longer. This...
I hope you got a P.O. box on there, not your actual address.
Oh, wait. Did I put my address?
Hopefully it didn't get on there. But
well, whatever. Anyway. So I wasn't thinking about that, to be honest, because it's
you might have got lucky.
But here's the sad thing. This is very, very, very sad.
I heard a rip. That didn't sound good.
No. It was just bubble wrap.
Okay, good. Oh, man.
This is the very last issue of Cinefix. 1980, 2021. End of an era. I have every issue.
41 years, man.
41 years. 41 years. And by the way, Cinefix became squareback like this with issue 50, which was Alien 3, back in, 1990? So I ordered this. You can't get this anywhere. I actually ordered this from Cinefix. They sent it to me. So here you go. I mean, by the way, I had not taken this. This is like pristine mint. This is. It doesn't get more mint than this. But my God, I look at this. I bought Cinefix 1 off the rack. This is it. This is the one I bought 41 fucking years ago.
Wow.
I mean, and it's anyway.
That's sad though.
Sad. There you go. So James, I loved Starlog and Fangoria. I also love Cinefix. I read them. I was subscribed to Starlog and Fangoria for a very long time. Yeah, big fan. They meant a lot to me. The film guy sends in a super chat and says, 3 nights in a row, that's metal. Keep this up and I'll have to put on some Kiss makeup. Kiss was the first rock concert I ever went to. Kiss Dynasty. In 1979, I went with my friend Jeff Swafford and Pam Comstock. Yeah, so that was my first rock concert. So
that's
yes. By the way, there's not going to be, if there's going to be more Midnight Metal, it'll be next week. I'm not doing this again. I got to sleep.
Too late for you.
I can't. Jason 666 King sends in a super chat and says, "No movie is more metal than Excalibur." Prove me wrong. Excalibur is pretty fucking metal.
Highlander.
Yeah, Highlander's pretty, but there's more dudes, and you know what? There's a question now. Let's throw it out to the audience. What's more metal, Highlander or Excalibur?
It's a good question.
Those are pretty good. That's a good. I mean, those are both the Clan MacLeod. There's a lot of fucking metal in Highlander.
The Kurgan is just metal.
The Kurgan is metal as. Kurgan is metal as fuck. And by the way, I mean, the only thing that takes it down a peg is that you got fucking Wagner in Excalibur, which is fucking metal. I mean, I shouldn't say this as a Jew, but fucking Wagner, as opposed to Queen. I love Queen, but was Queen, metal? Is it more metal than Wagner? I don't know. That's a tough call.
I don't know.
Richard K says Arnold's End of Days is a good 666 movie. I like End of Days. Peter Hyams directed that. I
saw it in theaters.
Yeah. I think it's good. The Law says Midnight Metal is your best series. I want to see more. Yeah, but the problem is it's expensive because I drink alcohol and it goes late night. I mean, I've been doing this now for I thought I was going to do this for an hour, but since Tom's been here, we're 3 hours. It seems like seconds have gone by.
Yeah.
And for Tom, it's the sun's coming up.
That's all right.
You're married, right? Are you married?
No.
You're not married.
Job, man.
Oh, I was going to say, because you don't. So there's not somebody bitching at you going, "Come to bed, Tom."
No,
that's good.
Just the dog.
Yeah, me too. But I got the lady. I'm in the garage though. The Rob Observatory.
I don't want
to
get you in trouble.
No, I'm not. That's the thing. I can stay up here all night. It doesn't matter. No one can bitch at me. No one can make me do anything.
Yeah, but you need to get some rest before tomorrow. You got stuff to do. You said,
I got so many. It's fine. As long as I get to bed. So The Law, you're going to see more. We'll do Midnight Metal. I love the fact that Midnight Metal is now a guest show. I had Roberto Suarez and Dieter Bastian, who, by the way, tomorrow morning, Dieter Bastian and I are Let's Get Physical Media, episode 19 will be at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Pacific time. Tim Possible says, "Yo, my film is here. Closed doors. I have a message for America. Bruh, Rob, I feel like you're taking on way too much. I've met you and watched you on streams." Well, what am I taking on too much? I don't know. Come on, Tim. You just got to keep going. You got to keep working.
Yeah.
Look, If Cinefex, if this magazine can last, I mean, you know what this is? This is 41 years of American pop culture right there. Look at that. One guy made that magazine possible. I don't know what my point is, but hey. Jashan Kander says, we live in a society where honor is a distant memory. We live in a society where honor is Isn't that right? Batman.
I always wonder what it would be like to have the Jim Carrey play the Joker.
I know, right?
Well, that's what it felt like when he was doing that bit.
I know.
Sorry. I liked the Snyder cut better, though. And I know you were
I
all
did too.
jazzed up on
I did too.
Is it a great movie, though? I don't know. That's debatable on my part. But I'm glad people enjoyed it, and I'm glad people finally got to see it. So.
Yeah. Lynn Hobday is still here. By the way, Lynn is somebody who started watching the Burnettwork, Robservations, and she's somebody I so want to meet in real life. She does all kinds of music. She's worked on Godzilla films. She's done work on anime. She sings in like these cool cabarets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, she's just like, she's the kind of girl, I should say woman, that I just would love to like hang out and party with, drink large quantities of sake and sushi, and I could make her take me to all the great Japanese toy stores because I need Japanese die-cast. I think she would be there for me. I think Lynn would be like, all right, Rob, we'll go. And she could translate, which would be fantastic. So Lynn says, thanks for the rant, Rob. It's very therapeutic and very fucking metal. Lynn Hobday is, even though she's in Japan singing anime songs and all that, Lynn is fucking metal because she's British and she went to Japan. That's fucking metal. I mean, you're speaking Japanese. She really thinks so. Dun-na-na-na-na-na. But anyway, so Paul in Long Beach sends in a tip and says, I'm so old, I remember an original episode of Robservations having this conversation about Birth of a Nation. It's an old one. I know. Vlad Momont sends in a super chat and says, hi, Rob. An artist and fan of yours from Russia here. Horosho. I'm actively developing a young Soups Bats origin story miniseries pitch. I've recently got a composer on. We plan to air on YouTube this year. Well, congratulations. You should. Russia has been turning out some pretty awesome movies. A lot of interesting sci-fi and superhero stuff. My ex-wife was Ukrainian. I've always had a fascination. Listen, I've got a fascination. How? It's funny because I'm not like really drunk, but I'm kind of drunk, to be honest.
A little tipsy.
Yeah, because yeah. But congratulations, Vlad. I hope that continue. Never stop making what you want to make. I'm a huge fan. I loved Andrei Tarkovsky, one of my favorite directors, a great Russian expat. He moved away. He moved out of Russia. But I actually met my ex-wife working on a series called Masters of Russian Animation, where there was an American company, and there was a famous Russian, Oleg Vidov. And he's a Russian film star. Oleg Vidov he had a company here in America. And for years I worked on bringing these films, and they were released on DVD, Masters of Russian Animation, and it was the whole history of Russian animation. It was amazing. And I worked on those with Oleg Vidov, who passed away a couple of years ago, and he was a great guy. He was a really, really cool guy. Stub McShave says, would you consider Starship Troopers metal? Come on, dude. Starship Troopers is fucking metal. Fucking metal. Are you kidding me? Games in Theory? Fucking metal. Come on. Co-ed showers? Metal. Yes.
I think just about anything Verhoeven does is metal.
Yeah, by definition. And one of my most eagerly awaited pieces of physical media this year is, in fact, Basic Instinct in 4K. We
need RoboCop in 4K. Where the hell's that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I got a 4K print on digital, but it's not HDR graded or anything.
Yeah, I know. I think Arrow will put it out. The Arrow's RoboCop disc is so good.
It's beautiful, but it's like, why isn't it 4K? What the hell?
I know.
I think MGM wants to release one. That's why.
No, I mean, Arrows. They're doing 4K. They just announced what the was it Bird with Crystal Plumage? Dario Argento 4K something today, something like that.
Well, I got their Tremors one.
Yeah, it's great. That box set's great. It's
Mhm.
great. Ash Chowhan is here. Ash says, "How can it not get any more metal than Conan the fucking Barbarian, starring
yeah.
Arnold? The movie looks like a Frank Frazetta painting on a Danzig album cover. Fuck yes, that is fucking metal. It is." And Basil Polidoris' score, even though it's symphonic, is metal as fuck. I mean, come on. Even Mako is metal. The Age of High Adventure. I mean, come on. What do you think? Conan's metal as fuck, isn't it? So metal.
Hell yeah.
So metal.
Hell yeah.
Anthony Gonzalez says Starship Troopers is metal, especially when Michael Ironside's on screen. What a metal name. And like he's got metal body parts and a character with a metal arm. You missed one of my Streamlabs earlier, by the way. I did? Did I?
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. I feel terrible. Hang on, let me go back and I don't see it. Where is it? It's way back. Way. Hang on.
Hopefully you didn't miss a bunch of them or anything.
No, I didn't. But I don't see it. I don't see it, man. Oh, wait. You know what? I did. It's way back. Anthony says, "Hey, y'all. Rob, I don't mean to ask a personal question, but tonight is metal. So I will ask, how does everything work with Agent Cody Banks? Do you get royalty checks? Oh, did you meet Madonna or speak with her on the phone?" Oh, I met Madonna. I met Madonna on the Who's That Girl tour when I worked in Silver Platter. So I'd met Madonna, but no, I never met her on Cody Banks. You know what? I got paid pretty well on Agent Cody Banks. I've never received a royalty check, and you know why? Because according to MGM, Agent Cody Banks has never made a dime.
Every movie's never made a dime.
Never made a dime. And it is so, I mean, you could audit them. And they made a sequel. I'm also a producer on Agent Cody Banks 2, Destination London, which I'm embarrassed about because it's terrible. But yeah, so there you go. Yeah.
Are you how did you get just because he had part of the character to begin with, or what did you have to do with the sequel?
So what happened was I had a company called Endless Entertainment, and it was with two people, Danny Gold and Kerry David, and we optioned the script for Agent Cody Banks.
Okay.
And we took the script to MGM. And we also involved a couple of different finance companies, a company called Splendid Entertainment and Maverick, Madonna's company.
Okay. Yeah.
So we had put this financing together, and then we went to MGM with the whole package. And they said, yes, we're going to make Agent Cody Banks. Now, here's what's really interesting. The people that wrote Agent Cody Banks were Ashley Miller and Zach Stentz, who co-wrote Thor and X-Men First Class. They were friends of mine, and I got them hired to rewrite Agent Cody Banks. Their script was great, and the Agent Cody Banks script was basically Ferris Bueller meets James Bond. So it was targeted for people that were 16 to 24 years old. Right. When MGM picked it up, they're like, you know what? We love this script, but we want to make it for tweens.
Oh, Jesus.
We want to appeal to 8 to 12-year-olds. And we're like, why? But when you sell a script to a studio, you cede control to them. And we're like, look, man, we see this as more like Back to the Future. A high school kid, they didn't. So Frankie Muniz, and they took a script that was fucking epic, and they turned it into the Cody Banks that everyone's seen, and people love it, so I can't complain. It's 18 years old now, and I'm like, all right. But if we had made the original version of Cody Banks, it would have made, it was a movie that cost a little over $20 million to produce, and it made 50-something million at the box office. If we'd made domestically, if we'd made our version of the film, it would have made $200 million. But MGM wanted a tween movie, so it's like, let's put Frankie Muniz and Hilary Duff in the film. and that's fine. And then when they greenlit the sequel, because we were the producers, we
Gotcha.
yeah. So that but it was a bummer because the original Cody Banks script is amazing. It's fucking epic.
We should
And
throw that on the pile of read-throughs when we do.
I know I should just, here you go, check this out.
This was something we've been wanting to do. Like, and Paulie, who just sent you another super chat too. He's one who's done these already. Like, he'll do like radio play versions of movies. So I've been thinking we should do that for full scripts that have never been produced. Get a few different people to play the parts, and throw in some sound effects and some music maybe, and just have some fun with it.
Totally,
like an old radio play.
Yes, we should. Maybe we could do that. That. Anthony Gonzalez says Starship Troopers is metal. I already read that. Especially
you got that one.
Sends in a super chat and says, still love the Highlander series and Adrian Paul. Sorry, Tom.
Of course she would.
Oh, do
we
you
had
know
that
who?
Discussion the other day.
Okay, I love that. Luke Thyrocker sends in a super chat and says, more metal? Holy shit, I love it. Thank you. Well, Luke Thyrocker, thank you. Paulie's here. Latino Slants like, La Bamba is metal, but so is sleep. Well, Paulie, I cannot. By the way, Paulie was going to see
like the least metal thing.
He was going to see La Bamba tonight, I think. We couldn't go.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Well, it's today now, but yeah.
Yes, which we can. I want to go, but I can't.
I know it's nowhere near me.
The film guy says unpopular opinion based on last night's chat. Indy 4 is bad, but it's far better than Indy 2. I'll die on that sword. Are you out of your mind? Are you kidding? Kingdom of the Crystal Skull better than Temple of Doom
is metal as fuck.
It is metal as fuck. It literally, you have got clanking metal in the scenes.
Heart out of it.
Molaran, Shukaram, come on. I mean,
no,
I have heard these legends. I think in Pankot Palace, who doesn't like, the opening of Temple of Doom is metal as fuck. Come on.
Exactly, yeah.
How do you not love I love Temple of Doom. I love it. I saw the very first showing in Seattle. I love it. But come on, the film guy. All right. And then Richard K says, thoughts on the Lou Ferrigno Hercules. It is metal. It kind of is. I'll grant you that. The Lou Ferrigno Hercules is metal. So is the Schwarzenegger's in Hercules in New York.
Yeah.
So
I've seen most of that.
That's kind of metal. I'll grant you that. Any Hercules movie is metal. Sure, absolutely, 100%. Listen, man, I think it's 320. Could be 420. But it's not.
Somewhere in between.
It's 420 somewhere. It's 520 for you. I think I've got to be on a stream at 11 a.m. By the way, and then I'm on Let's Get Physical Media with Dieter Bastian tomorrow at 1, which we have a lot of good stuff. I need to go away, and you need to go to bed.
As long as you're caught up, sir,
I'm caught up. I'm caught up, and I want to. First of all, I got to thank everybody for another great stream. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I have to say thank you to you, Tom. Mr. Connors, Tom Connors, we've never streamed. You've had me on so many streams. You've been all the people at Midnight's Edge have been so generous to me. Thank you so very much for making Midnight's Edge my home away from home.
Well, we're always glad to have you there. And, you're always welcome. So, and I'm just happy to be here. I'm humbled as hell to be on Robert Meyer Burnett's channel. So
you kidding me? Dude, yeah, I mean, you've always sent me links, and it's been so much fun to meet you guys and stream with you guys, and it's been, I feel like I've found a community I can belong to. So it's been great. It's great to have you. And by the way, this is kind of an epic stream. We've been on for like 3.5 hours. It's like a nerdrotic stream. It's amazing. It's and just the two of us, and people are talking about we should do this more often.
That'd be great.
You know,
I know you said you can't do it tomorrow, but yeah, anytime you're doing this and I'm awake, I'm more than
yeah,
willing to
man.
hop on.
I have to like put this aside. By the way, my friend, well, look at Stubble McShave says, "What happened to Tom watching through Bond movies?" Oh man, now I'm gonna. Oh man,
Told you. I get one almost every day.
Oh, man.
We're gonna try to get to it. Robert's been very busy. I've been bugging the hell out of him, guys. So
I know.
like
It's my
literally
fault.
bugging the hell out of him.
But you know we've got time because we have what until October,
November or October now.
November.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at Thunder. We did Thunderball. Did we do Thunderball?
I think so.
Are we? You know,
I think
you
we're
only
on
have twice?
4. I think we're on
Thunderball's 4. And then you only have twice is 5. So Thunderball's 4. But I don't think we did Thunderball.
Maybe we didn't.
You
Maybe
might have done
that's where
without
we
me.
left
I don't
off.
know.
No, we never did any without you.
Oh,
So
we'll
then
get
that's
back.
where we left off. Then
We gotta get. He always runs while others walk.
nope, we didn't watch Thunderball. Then nope, I don't recognize that song. So that's where we're at.
He acts while other men just talk. Sorry, that's a little Tom Jones Thunderball.
No, I'm glad you're saying it because now I know I haven't seen it.
He knows the meaning of success.
No, we've only
Anyway.
seen 3. You're right. Yep.
So he strikes like thunderball. Anyway, no one wants to hear me sing.
think everybody wants to
Every
hear you.
woman he wants, he gets. Come on, you guys. What's your favorite Bond theme song? It's so good. Claudius, my man Claudius. Claudius, by the way, one half of the official couple of the Burnettwork. I think a couple that represents global aspirations. If you want to be a couple, if you want to be in love, you need to be Claudius in love with his wife, Candida, and have a son like Spencer. Because as a father and son go, and having a wife that appreciates this, they have more Star Wars toys than I think anybody I know. And that alone, that shows the kind of marriage that they have. And Claudius sent me a cover. He's in a branch of the U.S. government, and he sent me a picture. He's got a great cover. They call that official cover. You know, your hat you have to wear cover. He looks good in that damn cover. Anyway, Claudius says, just showed up at work and noticed that the Metal Storm was in progress. Cheers. That would be Metal Storm, the destruction of Jared Sin in 3D from 1983.
I have that.
But do you really?
Yeah.
You got Metal, and that summer you had Friday the 13th 3D.
Yep.
You had Jaws 3D.
Yep.
You had Coming At Ya, and then you had Metal Storm.
What about Amityville 3D came?
Oh
out
yeah,
that
right.
year, didn't
Did that come out in 83 or 80?
Was it 82 or 83?
82,
I can't remember which.
yeah. And I think Space Hunter, Adventures in the Forbidden
Yeah,
Zone was in
that's one.
3D too.
That one hasn't come out on disc yet, though.
No.
Same thing with that animated film that was kind of a Star Wars ripoff, but it's actually really good.
The Legend of
Star Chaser. or
Star
whatever,
Chaser,
yeah.
or the Legend of Orin.
That needs to be. Why is that not on 3D, man?
I don't know.
And that Blu-ray is a horrible, horrible Blu-ray. It's in mono for some reason.
Bruh. Terrible.
The version that's on Amazon is better. If you haven't seen that movie, though, that is one of the better Star Wars ripoffs, though.
It is.
Rob and I love that movie.
And as well you should.
It's a great film.
Well, listen, I think it's time that we bring this epic stream to an end.
Yes.
Metal, I mean, my God, these are long streams. I want to thank I don't even know, like, I have moderators in these streams. I can't believe.
Yeah.
I have the best moderators. Look, Purple Valkyrie, she does both. I love Purple Valkyrie.
They got Xevious here, too.
Yes. So I want to say Xevious is here. Good stuff, guys. Was fun. Well, Xevious, you set the tone with the great artwork you did. I want to thank my moderating staff. I want to thank the Richard, Mike Bodden, Darren Seeley is here. The Richard, I don't know who else is here. Let's see. I think just the two of them. I can't believe I have 2 moderators. It's amazing.
I thought you had 3 there.
Yeah, do I? Darren, the Richard. Anyway, I want to thank all. Who am I missing? I don't know. I'm seeing them. Look, I don't know who I'm missing. But I want to thank you all for being here. I want to
Oh, I
thank
guess so,
Tom.
too.
Tom from Midnight's Edge. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me, man.
What a great stream that we've done. I mean, I didn't know what it would be like. I came back. I Elizabeth and I had date night, and
Hey,
then we walked the dogs together, and then we come back, and it's almost midnight. And I'm like, I'm gonna go do a stream, and she's like reading Octavia Butler sci-fi for her college course, and I'm like, I'm gonna go do it again because people like it. And it's been we had 263 people here.
yeah, it had more than that at one point, I think.
I mean, yeah, that's we are like right now. It's pretty metal. It's
Yeah,
fucking metal. So at late night, I mean, because it's YouTube is a global audience, and I would love to
yes, it is.
service the audience more. I really
Yes.
would, but we can't. Do you guys like? Do you guys, because of Andre? Do you have a certain, like, when you guys stream? Is there like some Midnight's Edge? Like, we have to stream at this time. You're doing morning shows now, but because Andre to participate, because the time difference is so
That's part of
extreme.
it. The other part is just that we learned that the more, and I think part of that was from you. We learned. I've been paying attention to what a lot of people have been doing, and we just kind of we knew we had to revamp things a little bit. Things changed in Andre's life, but we know if you're consistent on the days and the times, that helps.
Yeah,
And that's something I learned from paying attention to you and watching you grow your crowd. And then, of course, also paying attention to what Jeremy and Doomcock and Gary and all those guys are doing too.
yeah,
And because we tried to do the live channel. That's what Midnight's Edge After Dark has been all
yeah.
these years, but it's just kind of became its own thing now. So then Andre just started the live archive. So whenever we're done doing the live show, we'll throw them up there. And then that way it doesn't take away the attention from our main videos, which I was working on one just when I saw you were going to go live here, which is almost done, which hopefully you guys will see tomorrow. Or today, I should say.
Well, let me ask you this: being that it's 3:30 in the morning, it's 5:30 for you. Let me ask you a question. One of the things I always talk about is process, filmmaking, and in terms of YouTube, wisdom, your wisdom, sir. What do you think are some of the most important things to remember when trying to build or grow your own YouTube channel? What are some bits of advice you could offer to people?
Find what you love, or talk about what you love, or make videos about what you love. Um, Now, I can't say that everything we do on Midnight's Edge is something I love, but I'm also part of a team over there, and it's not
Yeah.
just my channel. But if you're somebody who's doing your own thing on your own time and your own dime, then you better make sure it's something you enjoy. And here's the other thing is most people I think that they don't think about, everybody wants to come in, they want to talk about movies, they want to talk about this, they want to talk about that. There's probably something that you do in your life that you love that's a hobby that nobody else is doing on YouTube. So I bet you if you go on and type whatever that is in, you'll be lucky if you find one or two people doing that. You've got a better chance at probably finding whatever it is you want to do that's your specialty
Mm.
and doing that. And even combining it with something else too at the same time. Like there's a couple guys I know where all they do is build Lego stuff and just talk about
Yeah.
whatever.
I know.
You
I,
know,
I mean, this. I watch a variety of channels that are not in my wheelhouse. Like, there's a guy, I keep talking about him all the time. I don't know him. His name is the Stradman, Stradman, and he's a kid. Like, I call him a kid because he's way younger than me.
Yeah.
He has a supercar channel. Like, he buys Lamborghinis and shit. And he just rebuilt. If you are having a bad day, I will turn on the Stradman because he's always got a big smile on his face, and he's like having a great time. I know nothing about cars. To me, I've had 2 cars stolen in LA. You can't love cars in LA unless you're rich. So I just watch his channel because he lives in Utah and he's building his dream house, and he's got millions of subscribers, but he's always having fun. And you watch his channel, he has a giant smile, it's infectious. Welcome back to my vlog. Welcome back to the channel. That's what he always says, and it's all good. And I don't know anything about cars, but I watch his channel because he's fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
So again, like that's my main thing. What I would say is just love what you're gonna do. First and foremost, that's the main thing. I've seen a lot of people, even in our own community, who have gone away and come back and done other stuff just because they got sick and tired of
Right.
some of the drama or just talking about stuff they didn't enjoy or whatever. And then they came back with something different and they're like, this is what I love doing, you know?
Mm.
So this is what I love talking about. So there you go.
I have one more tip from Cal Swack Props, the man who made this book,
Awesome book.
The Nine Gates.
So what's inside? Is it like just like the book inside, or what's inside? Is it
Well, yeah, no.
book
Okay, first of
or-
all, I showed this last night. I mean, on the DVD of The Ninth Gate, they actually had pages from the book, and so he's taken them and I mean, these are recreations of the book, and now he's got as much of the book as they showed.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's not like you can read it or anything, but if you hold on to this, it feels real. The leather and all that. It's so stunning. And wait, I have to show these. So these are in the book. This is an exact. Again, if you were here last night, this is Johnny Depp's business card from the Ninth Gate, and Cal made that, and then the two twin guys in Italy. This is their business card. It's exactly the same as the movie. I mean, it's the stuff that Cal does. And then here is if you've seen the film, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but this is from Frida Kessler. I mean, all this is right out of the movie. It's exact. This
guy should be doing special edition stuff, man.
His stuff. Swack
You
Props.
can put the Blu-ray in there.
If you go to his Etsy store, I mean, I don't. Let's see if I'll show this because I think I showed this last night. I don't even remember because I watched the
first like hour or so of the show, but
did I show the Hobbit map that he did?
No, I didn't get to see that, but
okay. The thing is, I have to make sure that the pen is in here. Oh wait, yes it is. Here it is. Okay. So Cal, who's an imagination connoisseur, this is the most insane shit ever. I worked in the art department on movies. So Cal does recreations of paper products from films. This is the map to the Misty Mountains.
That's awesome.
From Lord of the Rings. Here, do you mind if I go full screen? And
no, go for it. Dude.
Okay, I'm gonna go full screen here for a second because you got to see this. So here is Cal Swack Props. If you look at all of the weathering and the where the creases are, but it's so insane. Now hang on, I've got to. Here's where it gets really, really incredible. So if you look at this, it's exactly it's so accurate. But look at this. So the runes. Look at that. I mean, this shit is insane. I don't even know how he did this. But like if you want to get somebody a gift, like I know he's made I don't remember who bought this from him, but somebody bought this from him and had it beautifully framed. I mean, if you love Lord of the Rings or you love The Hobbit, I mean, this is the map to the Misty Mountains. It is. Oh my God! I mean, I can't even. He sent me one of my favorite pieces of mail I ever got. Is this? This is an envelope he sent me of random shit he made, including that map. This might be one of my most favorite pieces of mail I ever received. There's so much in here. There's so much gloriousness in here. I mean, I want to get it framed and stuff, but then I can't touch it. So, yeah, and then this, he sent me Rorschach's journal from Watchmen. It's insane. The stuff he does is insane, but The reason, what was funny was he was an imagination connoisseur, part of my audience, and I'm like, swag props. I like did a Google search, like, who is this guy? And it led me to his Etsy store. And when I found out he made a book from the nine gates, the Roman plants of the 9 gates of the kingdom of heaven, I'm like, okay, this guy and I certainly park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay, because anybody who loves the 9th gate enough to make this, it's not like the 9th gate is some smashing box office success, but the people that love it really love it. Nobody loves it more than Cal, let me tell you, and me. So, and he sent this to me, and this is like, it feels real. Like I can conjure the devil with this. I swear to God. Oh, wait. You know what they can't hear? Oh, wait. You're right, because I'm on now. Now they can hear you. I'm sorry. I turned you off.
No, that's no problem.
Apologize.
I didn't know it was going to do that. No, all I said while I was off the screen was like, "Oh, he should design stuff for special editions." You could put
yes, he should. Like, I don't understand why Cal. I mean, he probably has a good life where he lives. He doesn't want to live in the shithole that LA is becoming, but he should. By the way, I have another. This is another terrible thing. This is terrible. Swag props, Cal, the man who I've been talking about. He just sent in a super chat. He said, "Come on, Rob. You've opened the floodgates. Do your Louis Armstrong." Okay, he wants me to sing from the James Bond movie On Her Majesty's Secret Service, 1969. He wants me to do my Louis Armstrong. Okay, I'm going to try. It's tough. It's hard. We have all the time in the world, time enough for life to unfold all the precious things love has in store. We have all the love in the world. If that's all we have, you will find we need nothing more. Every step of the way will find us with the cares of the world far behind us. That's all I can do, man. It thrashes my voice. That's my thank you. That's my Louis Armstrong. That is the song.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. From On Her Majesty's 1969's On Her Majesty's Secret Service. So on that note, I think that we should end this stream before I do something really egregious. Thank you, Tom, from Midnight's Edge. Where can people find you, Tom?
Oh, Midnight's Edge, of course. Midnight's Edge After Dark. We have various channels there. You can always find me a lot of other places too, like Friday nights. I'm on Friday Night Tights. High Councils on Tuesdays. Yeah, and then we have the morning shows on Midnight's Edge and all that good stuff. So, and even on Midnight's Edge After Dark, you'll see Robert from time to time pop in there too.
I mean, whenever I always jump on when you send me the links, but sometimes I'm doing something, I don't see the links.
Oh yeah. So, no, it's one of those things. I know you'll show up if you can. So
yeah,
no worry.
Well, I want to thank you for taking me in. I feel like I'm like I was like an orphan living on the streets of YouTube, the empty streets, and Midnight's Edge took me in and made a man of me. So thank you for that. I appreciate all that you've done for me, and we've done some great stuff. I mean, Paulie from Latino Slant. My God, I've told people, by the way, I'll say now. Yeah, we should, because it's a new channel. Paulie, if you wanna subscribe to a very cool channel on YouTube, go to Latino Slant and subscribe. It's a new channel, but Paulie covers obviously Latino issues, Chicano issues, but he covers a lot of music, a lot of the vibrant music scene in Los Angeles, and he's just a great guy. So go to Latino Slant, subscribe.
Awesome.
And it's an awesome channel. And then go to Midnight's Edge and subscribe, and all of that, and then you can.
Speaking of the two, we are actually going to be combining our efforts, and we're going to be starting Midnight's Edge Espanol.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So that'll be coming on May 5th. We're hoping to launch that.
Cinco de Mayo.
Exactly.
That's a great. I mean, Cinco de Mayo is a big deal in LA. It's
Yeah, we got a few things already curated by Paulie himself, and that's where the Blood In, Blood Out thing came about from. We were doing stuff for the other channel, and then just Jeffrey Rivas, who we brought on to talk La Bamba, and he's like, I think we can get a couple of the guys from Blood In, Blood Out. Next thing you know, ball just started rolling, man.
that was one of my favorite things ever. That was so cool.
It was crazy.
It was.
I did
so,
not expect it to turn out like that.
No, I didn't either. I couldn't believe how many people showed up, and everybody was. All the actors were really interesting. I mean, they all had really interesting stories, and what a great bunch of guys. And for that, it's funny that's one of these movies that I think like I'm the only one that likes it. Because nobody
Right.
talks about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
to me, that's like the East Los Godfather, and I love that movie so much. And when you guys, I'm like randomly talking about it to you guys, for some random. I mean, I'm telling Paulie about my experience with. He's probably laughing at me like I'm the white guy from Seattle talking about Chicano culture when I first moved to LA, and I'm sure he was like laughing his ass off at me inside. But he was very nice and listened, and then we started talking about Blood In, Blood Out, and you guys are like, wait till after the stream, and I'm like, really? And when you told
we
me
didn't
that,
have everything set in stone yet, so we're like, yeah, wait till after the stream, man. We'll tell you.
by the way, Sir Angus Fungus says, can you do, Tom, a rendition of the Rainbow Connection?
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? And what's on the other side? That good enough? You want some more?
I want more. That's pretty fucking good, man.
Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. There we go.
Wow. I don't know what to say,
Kermit the
man.
Frog.
Amazing.
I was almost gone with the Schwinn.
That is
I
fantastic.
love the Muppet movie. Muppet movie's a wonderful, wonderful film.
It really is a wonderful film. Is that your favorite Muppet film?
The Muppet movie is probably pound for pound the best of the films, but I think Great Muppet Caper is the funniest.
Right.
And then Muppets Take Manhattan is probably the best technical film of the originals.
Yeah.
Frank Oz just has a much better directing eye than Jim Henson does. I think. And that's not even a hack at Jim Henson at all. It just, you can see her, like, Frank just has that. And so like of those three films, I mean, they all have something great about them. And then the latter films are okay. But yeah.
No, sure, absolutely. Well, on that note, I think Midnight Metal episode 3, again, a 3-hour and 45-minute, a 3-hour tour. This show is longer than the minnow took to get wrecked on Gilligan's Island.
That's true.
I just want to point that out to everyone. I want to thank you, Tom Connors, for being here from Midnight's Edge. Follow Midnight's Edge if you haven't already. I mean, I think everybody knows Midnight's Edge. I want to thank everybody for being here. Once again, I already thanked my moderators. Everyone says Rob Burnett has the longest goodbyes of anybody on any channel. I know. I can never get off. I can never. What can I do? I can never leave. I mean, I will be back on a stream at 11 o'clock in the morning talking about Leonard Nimoy. And on my channel, Let's Get Physical Media will be at 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. I have a lot of things that I've acquired, including a box from Dieter Bastian all the way from Germany. And then I think I'm going to do a Robservations. I don't know. I mean, okay, it'll be fine. But all good. But I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you for the generous contributions to the channel. Thank you for your super chats and your tips. And you can write me letters free of charge at theburnettwork.net. And I will read them on the air. And I have to say obligatorily, if you like these chats, please hit like, subscribe, hit the bell so you can be notified. Because I never know when Midnight Metal will happen. You know, it's happened 3 times in a row. It's not going to happen tomorrow. or anytime during the week. Maybe it'll happen next week. Maybe it'll never happen again, but maybe it'll happen and you'll want to join. So anyway, thank you for all of that. And I have to say, Tom, you know what I always say? Every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear, and all you have to do is listen. And with that, right, I say to all of you, have a better day or a better night or a better, wherever you are on the planet, have a better one.